we go.
goodness.
There were a lot of notes last session?
Well, I took a lot of notes last session.
I took a lot of notes.
He documented every turn of combat.
No.
There was
I just said we
4
fought
rounds?
fish people.
5? 6? Some amount of rounds of combat. I don't remember how many. Either way, we're streaming now, so...
Okay.
If,
Hello, everybody.
If you guys
But-
want to break down what happened last session, go for it.
Consul's not a good swimmer. That's pretty much sums it up.
That's true.
He's a
It's-
great swimmer. Not when he's strapped.
He
to
doesn't
bricks.
belong on a ship.
I probably have the highest swim score out of everyone here.
There's no such
What-
thing as swim score.
Yeah.
Was it athletics?
We
I can swim
started.
faster than I can walk and breathe underwater. So, got you beat. Sorry, go ahead, Jack.
We started with council shift, right? The first mate,
Yes.
Stan, the first mate.
and council's role as the first mate is kind of similar to the role he's used to being.
Yeah, very good pairing there.
I also wrote council is not hewn? Question mark.
Ah.
DM may have slipped up once.
You bastard.
Hey, I mean, that's it though. Nothing else. It's all
he's also
secret.
he's also a Tauren.
He's actually just an overgrown gopher with a mask on.
You're my secret.
Hi guys. He was actively gnawing on the deck of the ship.
That's why it broke in half.
He keeps advocating for a new programming language that none of us are familiar with.
Too real.
Is that a gopher joke? I don't understand.
The Google language Go has a mascot that's a gopher. Go, gopher.
I was just thinking of DBeaver, which is a database browser.
My goodness.
And an
Could be a
adorable little
python.
beaver. All the beaver mascots are adorable.
Ow.
Anyway,
So yeah,
Take
so
one thing from
mascots.
this session. That all beaver mascots are adorable. Tizal flew up and talked to Ralph. They figured out their shifts. Tizal was weird like normal. Captain
Yeah.
Revan talked to Captain Reichert. Captain Reichert asked him if he keeps that accent up all the time. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Yep, this is how I talk." So
there's
something there.
some judgment going on.
Mm-hmm.
Straight from birth. Wah.
Mother, I be
Tell me,
thirsty.
mother talked.
Mother, I be thirsty.
Me mother, me father.
What else?
No
They talked
judgments
about,
there. Just didn't understand. That's
They
all.
talked
Yeah.
about
We need-
Revan felt betrayed by Lady Margaret.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Reichert doesn't feel like she's trustworthy either.
Yep.
He told Revan that they're transporting books, some magical. They want to make Mr. Hands and Carrie wrestle? Question mark.
The first mates.
I think there was some conversation about that. Carrie's not
was.
he's not the first mate, but I
He's
think
the
there was
boss,
some
the-
conversation of having
the
them
biggest
wrestle
crew
at some
members,
point.
yeah.
Because Carrie's a
Oh
big
right,
beast of a man.
carries the yep.
He's the
Oh yeah, and
master
apparently
guard.
there's kids on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
There were children on the ship.
Didn't
Word.
get
Word.
that.
Molly and her children.
Yeah.
Rip.
Hopefully they're not inside the Kraken. We'll have to go.
Spoilers.
We haven't gotten to that part in the recap yet.
Oh, okay.
Day shift happens. Things seem normal. Night shift. Basically, at shift change, basically, is when I believe Ronnie Drew is stabbed by two large figures that come on the deck. It's none of the deep. And that basically kicked off combat, where we fought for a while. Council was thrown from the ship by a maneuver and held on to driftwood that was Wander.
One of the Nans said, "Where's the stones?"
Mm-hmm. They were there for the stones.
Only a couple people could hear and understand. That's an interesting clue.
Yeah, because they said it in their non-language.
Right. Fish flop.
Fish flop?
Yeah, that's what I said.
I like it. It shall now be called fish flop.
Does anyone speak fish flop? Yeah, then I almost died. Wanda saved me. I only got to protect once.
You lost your stuff too.
Yeah, in my notes I have combat hyphen. Freaking damn it. I got a crossbow from Felix after combat. That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, after combat we spent a couple more weeks on the ship. Felix opens forbidden door.
I saw the saws.
I saw the saws and some crates.
Oh, I feel
Initially,
like-
it was anticlimactic, but it turned out to be some serious foreshadowing.
Then I decided to do detect magic, and detected magic in the chests of all the crew members.
Yeah.
Which was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Every crew member has something in their chest.
There was also
And the
magical stuff coming from each of you,
Yeah.
but not in your chest cavity. That's correct.
During the why do I have crew changing ships? I must have meant to write shifts.
Shifts. The last day, I believe, another shift change happened.
Tis all
And
his.
about
Oh, right.
about the time the shift change happened, Tizal woke up to Ralph calling down to the captain that there's seagulls.
Yes, seagulls.
Seagulls.
There
Captain
was
told
a
Joan-
seagull.
A seagull.
A
This is a sign
singular
of
seagull.
Singular seagull. Yeah. So
it's a sign of
Joan.
land, right?
Yes.
That is a sign of land, or seagulls also go out to ocean to die.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is that a thing IRL as well?
Yeah. That's it's
Just in Spencer's world.
Well, I don't know. It's a weird place.
I have Cursed Fog rolls in, Rykert angry, The Who plays.
Yeah, that was so awesome. I love the Who so much.
Everyone starts manning weapons, Rykert starts giving out orders. Stan gets given a ring of keys to go grab the swords, which we assume was for the tentacles. They go find Ed in the galley. Council was given orders to go find Ed in the galley and then go help Stan. Huge tentacles erupted from the ocean and grabbed the ship. Another ship appeared in front of ours with 4 large white sails adorned with a purple kraken. The pulsing blue lights, balls of lightning slam into the kraken. People are sawing tentacles. The ship is torn in half. Stan looks for Tim, but doesn't find him. So Stan detonates purple stone in his heart with a knife.
Yeah. Like Tim, they talked to Tim as if I gathered that it was probably his duty to do that.
Right. Maybe because he was the oldest? I don't know.
This is also the Nightingale too.
Yep. You did learn that. This
See
is the
if
second.
Nightingale 3 is probably going to be christened soon.
Maybe
Safe
stop
bet.
naming it the Nightingale. It's like Old
Gale-
Faithful 7.
The Galing Night.
Oh, okay. And then when we fell into the ocean, there was a giganto eye. Well, we didn't see it, but a Revan heard a voice. It says, "I'm sorry. This is all our fault. We never intended it to be this way. Things have gotten out of hand. I'm too tired to control them. Please, you must find me. This will help." That's all I got.
The voice also continued to say, "You must succeed where others have already failed. I have nothing left to give. Please, I am so tired." And that was only, yes, Captain Revan is the one who heard that.
Was it some other entity, or was it his patron? Tune in next time.
Oh, Dragon
Tizal.
Ball Z.
It was Tizal.
Tis all.
Cool. Anything else?
Did we get it all?
For a future campaign idea, having a warlock in the party and then having a different party member who's really good at telepathy screwing with them, thinking that they're their patron, would be amazing.
The players just like texting the DM like what they want to say.
Yes, that'd be so great.
Hey, Spencer, I have an idea to multi-class.
No.
It'd be Tizal's voice speaking.
Reverend just hears,
It is your patron.
Immediately, Revan just turns like, come on.
bring me worms.
Bring me worms? That's what you said?
Yes.
All right. The name of session 3 is Back on Solid Ground. Fairly anticlimactic, for which I apologize. So, after the events of that morning, you and the remaining passengers aboard the Nightingale stayed in the water for close to another 20 minutes before the second ship returned to pick you up. First, the crew of the Nightingale, the actual crew, not the ragtag crew, you guys, but the real crew of the Nightingale, essentially started, when you're floating in the water, gathering up pieces of driftwood and making like something of a raft, so that like Molly and the children could climb on. Any of you who are less floaty, specifically looking at council, could be on there. But it's all done in silence, aside from the occasional bubbles coming up from the trapped air pockets within the Nightingale as it sinks beneath the waves. They don't speak at all. It's a very awkward, very tense, very like mournful 20 minutes. You get the sense that they know that they failed in their duty or in what they were going to be doing. But after they have gathered this together and everyone is there, everyone is accounted for. So all the other members of the crew survived. All of you are there. The only one who is missing is Stan Rogers. On that note, could I have everyone roll me a d20?
Hey, Spencer, did we all witness sacrifice? Did we all see that happen? Or was it obvious?
How about you? You specifically on deck, you could make me a perception check with disadvantage. If you read I know that Adam did, but for anyone else, if you didn't read the extended cut, the director's cut of what actually was happening on the deck of the ship at that time, one of the tentacles had knocked Captain Revan away from the wheel of the ship. He had then taken out his cutlass that he had, stabbed it into the tentacle, and proceeded to discharge his Eldritch Blast firearm into the tentacle multiple times while attempting to essentially wrestle it.
Cool.
What'd you get?
9.
9? You probably didn't see it.
Okay.
Tizal might have been able to if you wanted to make a check. Wander, you could also make a check. Felix,
Perception?
absolutely not. You were below deck. You were firing cannons into the basically straight into the thing, like point blank.
I got my natural 20 out of the way for the night, so I saw it.
Wander, you absolutely saw it. You saw this moment in which Stan, it was sawing back and forth with Council across this tentacle. He looks around, can't see what he's looking for, stops, reaches for his boot dagger, proceeds to stab himself and throw himself overboard.
I got a natural 5, so 8.
You were busy looking at the other ship, just perplexed at this other thing coming out of the fog. Yeah. Did everyone roll 20? Did D20?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. What did we get?
I got an 11.
Two.
4.
Oh my goodness!
Start. It's a good start to the night.
This is a really good start.
Everybody drowns.
The only other fatality of this event is Captain Revan. He is pronounced dead on the raft.
Rip.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Wait, what
Forces them into the ocean to stop going down the route.
is Tim here?
Old Tim is there.
How does he look? Like expression-wise.
He, even more than anyone else, seems to be very downtrodden.
Okay.
Very mournful over not only the loss of First Mate Rogers, but also the lack of him performing in what you gather was his duty at that time. For some reason.
No one's talking. We're all just kind of floating and waiting.
Yeah, well, so it was silent. The other ship did come and gather you up at that point. You were taken aboard. You find out the name of this second ship is the Dreadnought. It's captained by Captain Bailey Atwell. And he and his crew take you back to the town from which they left, which is Orin.
Sorry, the name of the captain was
Bailey Atwell.
Is that Orran?
The name of the city?
Yeah.
It's Orin, Oren.
Okay.
Did we leave? So we saw Revan dead there, where we crashed.
Yeah, so he's pronounced dead. Yes, but the crew still brings him along.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Are we going to just leave his body or bring him?
Yeah.
Does the other crew say anything? Like,
yeah. There's just some like general conversation of like the status of the beast. Anyone listening in is probably able to gather that they weren't able to pursue the Kraken any further. Essentially, it evaded them. But it was bleeding profusely from the numerous wounds that it received, and so it's very possible that its body is just now lying at the bottom of the sea, along with the Nightingale.
Good. What is the name of the new ship? Can you say that once more? Sorry.
It's the Dreadnought.
Dreadnought. Okay.
Would they know if this is the same Kraken or like one of multiple Krakens in the ocean?
Are you asking them that on the
Yeah. If we're not RPing it, yeah. Like if that's what we're trying to glean out of the conversation.
Why don't you make me a persuasion check?
Okay.
Can I help? Council would absolutely love to know that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, so do you want to roll separately, or do you want to give him advantage?
We'll give him advantage.
Okay.
Okay. First roll is 18. Second roll is a 5, so I'm gonna stick with the 18.
18. Yeah, you are able to gather. So after they have kind of convened, basically the two crews of the two different ships have like a council on the deck of this other ship to talk about things. Again, the crew of the Nightingale, they are willing to communicate, but they're very silent and sullen overall. But after they are done convening, you approach the captain of the other ship, or who you glean is the captain of the other ship, and ask if this is just one of many Kraken, or if this is the same Kraken or whatever. And he lets you know that there are multiple Kraken in the sea. This is not the first. This is also not the biggest.
Cool.
Ooh.
Dope.
He seems... He's a younger-faced gentleman. Blonde hair. Think of like parted in the middle. Not especially like handsome or anything, just kind of plain looking. But he seems very kind, and he acknowledges that they weren't there fast enough, that they did what they could to try and save the Nightingale. But he's very sorry for essentially the inconvenience to you as the passengers of the other ship. And then he kind of has the crew show you guys to where there are quarters where you can stay. Most of you are pretty banged up from the events. Not dead, but in worse for wear conditions. And so you kind of go down below decks to rest. He does stop by like each of the different cabins and kind of explains where you are and how far away you are from Orin. He says it shouldn't be more than a day's journey.
Was that where we were initially going?
Yes.
Okay.
That is the name of the town to which you were originally headed.
I probably would have asked him then why they're going to Orin, knowing that we were being like expelled from the Hewn Islands.
To which he would ask, where else is there to go?
The nest, that's what I wanted to go.
You're a long way from home, friend.
Yes.
Yeah. And at that, he closes the door.
Would it be possible to do some gentle prodding on what the heck happened to Stan? For like the existing
sure.
crew? I mean, obviously the morning, but Council's like, the whole heart thing, I mean, I didn't see it, but like he stabbed himself, he went into the water, and then exploded, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what happened?
Who are you asking?
The person who looks the least sad.
Person who looks the
Whoever's
least
taking
sad.
this the best.
Make me an insight check to see if you adequately know who that is.
Ha! Natural 20. Oh my goodness.
You probably see that Captain Reichert is the least sad.
Okay.
Not because he's not sad, but more... he's not frazzled by this. He's
Right.
sad, but he's not in shock.
Okay. He seems like he's done this before. Something similar has happened, maybe?
You could probably surmise that, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe this isn't his first time around.
And Council's definitely opening with, if you don't want to talk, that's fine. But any information.
Captain Revan explains that he thinks that information is better to be shared when they're in Orin. Once they get there, everyone has had a chance to recover. There will be a lot of explaining that will happen.
Okay. Then.
But he does promise to tell you.
Right. Council says thanks and doesn't press any further.
Okay. Anyone else have questions or things they want to do?
Wander is still reeling from events, just trying to get his bearings.
Okay.
Yeah. This is a lot of mythological creatures for the span of a month.
Mhm.
Talking trees and smoking, flying birdmen, smoking dwarn, krakens. Oh my goodness.
Okay. Then you make it to Orin. Just as promised, within the span of a day, you are at the harbor of Orin, which I will show to you guys.
Sorry, could you spell Orin again?
Yeah, Oren.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Ooh.
Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you see Orin. When you approach it, you can see just these like massive stone walls that are like easily as tall as this ship, if not taller. And you can see. Can you guys see my mouse on the screen right now?
No.
Dang
No.
it. So there's a diagonal kind of grayish line
Mm-hmm.
that is also tall. It's a tall wall, but it's not like this perfectly meticulously placed stone like the rest of the walls are that you can see. It looks more like debris, random large boulders, rocks, other things like that, kind of lining this, making a wall between the remainder, or the city and the ocean.
Okay.
And right in kind of where the bottom of that, what is that? I just said it. Diagonal line meets the larger wall. You can see there's like a little brown smudge down here.
Mm-hmm.
That is the harbor.
Oh, okay.
So you kind of sail into this little inlet and get out there. The remainder of that day is kind of a blur, and even the next couple days, as you are essentially taken by the crew to an inn where you are put to recover, essentially, from
Right.
your wounds and from the trauma that's just happened. And you're well taken care of while you're there.
So if that's the harbor, this city must be fairly massive.
It is a big city. From what you can see, once you're inside the walls, it is a very large city.
Wow.
So
Unexpected.
each one of these squares is approximately a mile by a mile.
Wow. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Does it seem to be a mix of races or predominantly one race?
You don't know you're dead.
Does it seem to be a
okay.
mix of races?
You see predominantly hewn. There are a couple dwarn, but mostly hewn.
Okay. A council was definitely he would probably share this with anyone he's walking with or chatting with during meals, but like he was expecting kind of a wagon city of outcasts from other towns, not an actual city. Like this isn't what he thinks of when someone says a city of exiles or something like that. It's definitely
Tizal shares that same sentiment.
Alright, this is like a legitimate city.
Hmm.
Okay.
Cool.
You said mainly.
It's like
humans?
Australia.
Yeah, it is mainly. It is a lot like Australia. I'm surprised that nobody connected that the prison island, the people from there spoke with Australian accents.
Yeah, I'm just now putting that together.
I figured I shouldn't say anything.
Joe.
You're just sending prisoners there, and the English finally come visit. Like, wait, you guys have buildings?
What did you do?
Guys,
What was your question, Luke? Oh, sorry. Yes, predominantly hewn, a couple Dwarn. Overall, what you could see, the city itself, where this tavern is basically, if you follow the, where it's diagonal line that kind of mirrors that thicker gray line up to the left. Where that joins at the four corners is where you stay.
Oh, okay.
That's where the inn is.
Gotcha. So 2 miles out, roughly, from the center of that.
A single mile.
Okay.
Well, I mean, triangle math, but yeah, a mile.
Sure.
Okay.
That is where the inn is that you guys stay. Captain Revan, his body is taken away. So once you guys are left there, the body of Captain Revan is taken by Old Tim and by a couple other members of the crew away from where you are.
Okay.
Captain Revan, you wake up in what could only be described as a temple of sorts. You can see there are both hewn and dwarn people around you. There are large sculptures of various figures that are kind of adorning like different pillars around this temple. But the entire thing is intricately carved and made of stone. And when you wake up, you have an enormous amount of pain in your torso. Any amount of movement, whether it's to sit up, to turn, to roll over, to try and talk or breathe, is fairly laborious.
Does it seem to be in conjunction with my injuries, or is this something different?
Which injuries do you speak?
Like getting hit by the Kraken and knocked across the deck, and any just kind of general, getting beat up from the tossing waves on the ship and fighting off the Kraken.
Make me a medicine check.
Oh, okay. Oh, nat 20.
Wow. You guys are wasting them. Just throwing them away. I'll tell you what. The reason why you know that it's not connected to the injuries you sustained on the ship is you look down at your coat that you traditionally wear is not on you. It's been taken off. It's set aside. You can see it's like on a cot next to you, along with some of your other belongings. And you have now got a scar, basically from like your collarbone all the way down to your belly button. That looks like it was basically torn open and stitched back together.
Jack with that Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
I know this.
It's so, yeah, imagine the scar that Jack has, but longer.
Yeah. Did they put a stone
Not
inside
blue.
your chest, Jack?
I don't know. I don't know detect magic, so I can't tell.
Oh.
The worst kind.
Let me stab myself in the heart and find out.
Please don't.
Don't.
If So if you like were to touch your chest or anything past that point, one, it would be very tender to the touch, but you can also feel there is a little bit of warmth there that's not usually there outside of like your normal body heat. Which once you start moving around, you can actually see that old Tim and Captain Reichert are sitting on like a pew. Basically, you're in like a pew that's been turned into a cot of sorts. I gotta start saying of sorts, but a cot, something to lay on, and you can see that they are sitting on the one next to you. And as soon as you start moving, Captain Reichert just says, "Oh, good. I'm glad to see that you are waking up. You will have a lot of questions. Those can wait. Just please take your time to recover."
Okay.
He just kind of nods and smiles as you then drift back into sleep. The next day, you again wake up and you're feeling better. Not quite like miraculously better, but considerably better than you were before. And again, when you wake up, you see both Captain Reichert and Old Tim there. Old Tim, you can see he is like basically unwrapping some like old bandages that were put around you, and he's like taking them off and like cleaning them and kind of tending to your wounds. And you can see there are some additional like Dwarn and Hewn people who are taking care of others who were also badly damaged. You don't know to what extent, though.
Tim. It's Tim, right?
He, while he's like unwrapping the bandages from you, doesn't even look up to meet your eyes, but you can just hear him begin to speak. He says, "Oi."
This scar, this terrible pain. What happened?
Well, you say you was dead, and now you're not.
Dead?
At which point, Captain Reichert cuts in and says, "Hold on now. Let's have a little more class than that, Tim." He says, "Yes. I'm sorry that you have had to find out this way, but yes, you were dead."
I died, and now I'm here.
That is correct. During the sinking of the Nightingale, you took a significant amount of damage directly from the Kraken itself. And so whatever life force you have inside of you left for a time. That is now being held in place with some assistance.
And what of the Kraken?
I wish that I had better news, but unfortunately, we're not sure.
Aye.
The Kraken escaped. It may have died. It may still be out there, but horribly mangled. Either way, it will bear quite the scar the remainder of its days.
Well, we put up a good fight. Are there other survivors?
Yes. Everyone survived except First Mate Rogers.
Aye. Rogers, he seemed a good man. That's too bad.
He seems to get a little choked up. He says he was. We're actually
And do you expect me to have much longer?
to live.
To live? Yes, aye.
Oh, absolutely. You will have a full life and a glorious
Wonderful.
end someday.
All right, I got to take my quick break. Sorry.
Go
I'll
for
be
it.
back shortly.
Sure. At that point, they have to continue their conversation.
I don't think he picked up the last thing you said.
That's fine. He'll pick it up
This is
eventually.
your reaction. Like, wait.
You, the rest of you, you wake up to a ruckus from downstairs at the inn. It's late in the day. You may have been up at some points, but you're taking frequent opportunities to nap, to reacquaint yourselves. So you hear a loud ruckus from downstairs, or a commotion of some sort from downstairs. One thing that each of you notice is you each have a collar on your neck.
What?
Wander, you actually have two. Because you're too big. They weren't
They
able
had to,
to
like,
fit
tape two
one around
together.
you. Exactly. They took two and just kind of clamped it on either side of you. Which upon inspection, they just appear to be simple kind of metal bands that are held together by a single red stone.
Do I have my mask on?
You do.
Okay.
Did you take it off?
No, I just want to make sure no one took it off while they were putting this thing on me.
No, it's on.
Okay.
Can I
Did
tell if this stone is red alchemite?
So you can't quite see it on yourself, but you could
Oh.
see it on others.
Yeah.
Right.
And looking at it on other people, make me a wisdom check.
Yeah, Council crouches in front of Felix to let him inspect to his heart's content. It's like, what is this?
Look at it! Look at it! Does this look infected to you?
Can't figure out if he has to kill someone over this or not. We'll see.
Just a straight wisdom check?
Yeah.
Is this considered stonework?
You know what? Yeah, I'd allow you to have that.
Can I
Every single dwarf ever asks that question all the time.
Yep. Is this
we
made of
assist?
stone?
Can we assist by chance?
Sure. Since other people are like putting it in front of your face so that you can get a better look at it, yeah, you could have advantage on it.
Okay, the advantage helped.
What is a
18.
stonework, dude? You just get like a straight +5 or something.
So I have.
I don't even remember what I rolled.
Oh, it's
Stonework.
intelligence history checks related to the origin of stonework considered proficient. So this doesn't count then.
Yeah, no.
That's okay. My proficiency bonus is crap anyway, so it's 16 instead of 18.
16? Yes, you can piece together this looks like red alchemite.
This isn't good.
This is less than ideal.
I see a sense of revelation in your eyes, friend.
It's red alchemite,
Do you care to
the
elaborate?
kind of stone that goes boom.
I assume tampering with this on our own would be unwise.
It's, if you recall, it's the same stone used in assassinating the Jarl.
Well, that's not good at all.
I did not come for
You're
new
muted,
life.
Alex.
Have I been muted this whole time?
No.
Just that last comment.
We're just pretending we hear what you say. Just going, uh-huh.
We're doing
You
really
haven't
good
said
at
a
lip
word.
reading.
So
Oh,
far,
yeah, this is
up
going
to that
great.
point,
Well
we were
done.
doing great.
I am quite predictable.
Are you gonna say what you were gonna say, or
I'm trying to contemplate
for it.
if I want to
Okay.
reword it or not. With your expertise, would you be able to remove these Or should we seek answers from those who placed them?
Oh, let's figure out why they're here in the first place.
That's a very good question.
I thought we were promised freedom.
Well, this may be a way for them to keep newcomers under a watchful eye.
I was told I would have new life. That does not include new chains. We need to remove these.
Let's see what their reasoning is.
Okay.
Think of it from their perspective. How many criminals and such are exiled from other places in the world and come to this impressively large and somewhat or fairly unknown city? We might be dangerous. They don't know that.
That's
We
very.
may have to prove ourselves.
That's a very wise perspective, Council.
I do cast an imposing figure.
A mighty ficus.
Do not speak to Wander that way.
Caw! I want to wander.
That's better.
Is there anyone around? We heard a ruckus, so I guess I'm going to. The council's going to just point at the stairs and start walking down.
So in the room that you guys are in, it is just the four of you. There are like 4 bunk beds. It's a decent sized room, bigger than the room that I'm certainly in right now. Maybe about the size of Jack's room that he's in right now. We've all been there.
Cool.
So kind of long, skinny room. But there's enough for 4 bunk beds, and each of you is kind of set up on one of the bottoms of these bunk beds. But you are the only ones in the room. And yes, you can hear kind of continued commotion downstairs.
Does it sound like stuff is banging against other stuff, or is it voices, or both?
Make me a perception check.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it sounds like fighting or an argument, or well, I'm pretty sure we're in a room. I rolled a 5. My perception is 4, so 9.
It's not too hard. The sounds of what's coming from downstairs, it's not hostile.
Okay.
It's just kind of loud talking.
Okay.
Movement. You hear like, squeaking of chairs on stonework kind of stuff.
Oh, so it might sound like a busy tavern.
Yeah, this is the busiest that you've heard it.
Okay.
Certainly there have been patrons that have come in from time to time during the last couple days, but this is the noisiest it has been.
And
Paul, go ahead.
how long have we been in here?
You've
Do we
been
know?
here for about 3 or 4 days.
So has Wander not been exposed to the sun for 3 or 4 days?
They made sure to put you next to a window.
Okay.
Yeah, every opportunity you get, I'm assuming you'd like put your hand out the window and like get some rays. And,
Get some sanity.
yeah.
Well, they certainly didn't want us dead if they put me next to a window. So
I assume if they wanted us dead, they wouldn't have let us sleep. How big are these collars?
How big are the collars?
Like, would I be able to put it under my shirt or like hide it in a way?
If
they,
you so your the artwork for your character, like if you put up your hood or something, it would be mostly hidden by that.
Okay, I will do that.
But it sits up like on top of your Adam's apple, so it'd be uncomfortable to get a shirt up there.
Okay, I'll pull my hood up.
Is the rest of the crew in this inn?
Do you want to go leave your room and find out?
Oh, so have we been like bound to this room for a few days, or you said earlier like we were?
No,
Up and
you
about.
were free to move about if you wanted to.
Okay, I would have probably wanted to see if the crew was here and maybe check in to make sure people were, I guess, healing okay. Because I'm assuming everyone got impacted the way we did.
Hmm.
So I probably would have done that in the downtime.
Yeah, in the couple times that you left the room during the last couple days, you didn't see any other members of the crew, although you did see the Molly from the ship. You
Did
saw
she-
Molly and both of her children in the inn.
Did they also have collars?
Yes.
Okay.
Just to catch you up, Adam, they are waking up in the tavern, and they all have collars on that are held together by what Felix believes to be red alchemite.
When you first said collars, big metal collars, I imagined the things from Wild Wild West.
Think
you know?
of that, but smaller. Yeah,
Okay.
not like the big saw blade magnets.
Tizal runs the complete opposite direction of council.
No.
You have to run at each other.
All right,
We
good on
should.
this.
Yeah, we should go speak to people.
Yeah.
Council goes to instinctively grab his shield and hand crossbow and cries.
As you make your way downstairs, you can see that the crew of the Nightingale is there today. And they seem to be the ones who are making the ruckus. They're getting, flagons of mead, and they're getting out dishes of food and stuff like that. Almost looks like they are getting some sort of like party or some sort of celebration ready. And Molly is there, and she seems to be kind of going behind the bar and grabbing things and coming out and helping set things up.
Okay.
While her two children are running around and screaming as the children do.
Does the crew have the collars?
They do not.
Immediately locking onto Molly's facial expression. Does she look like she's having a good time despite this collar?
Yes. Molly looks in very good spirits.
Okay. So it looks like someone who has received information and it hasn't disturbed them.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
She, from what you can tell, because she actually has like an apron on at this point, and she's like carrying serving trays and stuff.
Okay.
It looks like she is helping out in this tavern in some way.
I'll turn up the music. That's nice.
Oh yes, there is music. It's very quiet though, only because I didn't want to blast out everybody's ears, and because when I turned it on earlier, Alex said it was too loud. But we were also listening to 8-Bit Wellerman then.
Might be a tad different.
It might be.
Which channel is that on? I'm not hearing it at all.
It's through the stream
The
itself.
stream,
Yeah,
you just got to crank it up.
Got it. Thank you.
There, a little bit louder.
Nice. Lovely.
And Captain Reichert isn't here.
Captain Reichert is not here. The rest of the crew, besides Captain Reichert and Old Tim, are here.
Is Revan still missing?
Correct. Yeah, you
Okay.
have not seen Captain Revan.
Well, that's still assuming he's dead.
Who cares about that dead guy?
Basically.
Kind of going to make the last stamp a bit heavier than normal to make presence known without saying anything.
Okay.
It's kind of like, hey, we're awake.
As you thud down the stairs to this kind of open room within the tavern, thudding on the very last step, you can see that actually Tan Curry turns and notices you, and she stops the other members of the crew and like kind of gets their attention and points towards the stairs where you guys are. At which
Okay.
point, once everyone sees you, they actually start clapping. There's like this kind of awkward, like round of applause that comes from them. And then they just kind of go back after giving some like small congratulations, like, "Hey, you're still alive! Like, good, nice to see you guys up and around and moving."
Yes,
What?
thank you. We are amazing adventurers. Remember the story of the Nightingale 2 going down.
Wander does a very poorly rehearsed and poorly executed, big, flowery, formal bow. Kind of a
Council thinks it should have been better if you drowned. Anyway,
He saved your life.
no, if Council drowned.
Oh, never mind.
Does Wander flex at the mid torso, or is it a solid torso with arms and legs coming off of it?
I think
He's a wacky-
allowed to bend if he wants.
Wacky inflatable arm flailing tube torn.
yeah. I mean, not full human articulation, but yeah, definitely some flexibility.
Like a
Okay.
like a green tree can bend a bit, but not like.
Yeah, I was just trying to picture what it looks like. Yeah, okay.
To. Think less like bending at the abs and more just like pivoting at the hips. So it's just,
Makes a little creaking sound.
yeah. That'll be canon, sure.
Council's gonna go find Molly.
Okay.
We'll try and get her attention.
Sure. You kind of flag her down, and she comes over. She's got like a tray full of like full tankards of beer on top of it. And she said, yeah, can I help you? Sorry, with something.
I apologize for disturbing you, Miss Molly. You seem to be doing well after the incident.
Yes, quite well, actually. I mean, considering everything that's happened, I think that we, certainly me and the children, came off better than you lot fared.
That is probably for the best. I was hoping if I could borrow a moment of your time to inquire about these. And he points a finger at her collar.
Sure. And she like puts down the tray on the table and steps over and says, What do you want to ask?
Why are these on us?
It's a good question. From what I understand, it is a sort of service tax. Essentially, those of us who are new to the town before we set out to do anything else with our lives, they want to ensure that we stick around and help contribute to the building up of this town in some way. So I, myself, I'm helping out here at this tavern for the foreseeable future, but for at least a couple of weeks I'll be wearing this. And once I've proven that I'm not going to be a flight risk, they've promised that they'll take it off.
It's surprisingly practical. Indentured slavery. I appreciate your answer, thank you.
You're welcome.
He
I
picks up the tray
view
and
this as
helps her.
a bright new life for myself and my children. If you want to think of it as servitude, I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter what I think at the end of the day. It is what it is. He picks up the tray and helps her get it like back on her shoulder.
Sure. She takes the help, puts it back, and like starts going around like handing out tankards to people.
Okay.
Tizelle takes two.
Sure. Yeah. You're certainly each one of you is offered some.
Council refuses. But he turns to the group and shares that information if people didn't hear it.
So we must work to get collars removed.
I suppose we'll have to find the ones who determine whether these are to be kept on or not.
Now, why does the crew here get a free pass?
If I remember correctly, they've been here several times. I'm sure they've earned their keep from previous visits. That is my assumption, however.
At about that time, the door of the tavern opens. Besides the crew, you see that there are maybe like one or two other patrons. Like there's a kind of an older gentleman sitting at the bar, and there's a younger lady sitting over in a corner by herself, just having their normal business, not really caring about the goings on here. They seem maybe a little annoyed by the noise, but besides that, normal. When the tavern door opens, in walks Captain Revan, Captain Reichert, and Old Tim. Captain Revan, are there any other questions you would like to ask Captain Reichert and Old Tim before they whisk you away out of the temple?
Yes. To Reichert. So, Reichert, what is it that brought me back from the dead and continues to keep me alive?
That's a very good question. Understandable in the circumstances you find yourself in. We were not 100% honest in our dealings with you aboard the ship.
Is that so?
Aye. We do indeed transport, and we do transport, as was found out, books, and we bring alchemite back and forth, and we make a living occasionally bringing people across as well. But we, specifically the members of my crew and the members of the Dreadnought, the ship that saved us, we are part of a force of sorts, a group who is called the Kraken Guard, in which our purpose as we traverse the seas is to try to keep Orin safe and to keep other Hune, other people, all races, nationalities safe from the terrors of the deep.
In Non, I want to say to him, and what of these stones?
He just kind of gives a little chuckle, and just in common says the stones are what we call alchemite. It is a resource of some kind that is valuable to those who look for it and worthless to those who don't.
So magical.
In a sense. We have found through some amount of experimentation that this alchemite can take on different properties depending on the elements that it's exposed to. You, and he kind of points at your chest, says,
Aye.
You also now carry alchemite within you, just like me and my crew. Had we had the opportunity to ask you to join us, we would have, but it seemed more imperative to keep you alive than to seek your consent.
I appreciate that. I prefer to be amongst the living at least a while longer.
I think we can all agree to that.
Well, I certainly owe you my gratitude and thanks.
You're very welcome. You are not indebted in the same way that any of us are to serve as a member of the Kraken Guard. But should you ever desire to aspire to a higher calling in life rather than just transporting goods, certainly you could join us.
Aye. Well, know this, Riker. In me, you will always have an ally.
also in you will always be a stone. Never
Hi.
forget that. And that's important. And he leans in very closely and looks you dead in the eyes. And he says, when you die, there will not be a second chance again.
Oh.
When your heart stops, that stone explodes. Each of us, when joining the Kraken Guard, takes an oath of sorts. That should circumstances be dire and things look bleak, someone will be the last deterrent against those beasts and the horrors that they can do. Stan has made that sacrifice, as well as others before him. So now you,
I understand.
Adam, you have another hit die.
What?
So you feel a little bit healthier when in the best of times than the average person. You're not another level higher, but you have an additional full hit die of health. But should you fail all 3 death saving throws, there will be no resurrection. Your body will be in pieces.
Kaboom.
Kaboom.
So his health is basically as 1 level higher?
Yes. And it's you don't have to roll for it. You just get a full hit die.
Oh.
So 6? Plus
No,
his
I have a
con?
D8.
Oh, 8. Wow.
I have a D8, yeah. Do I add my con as well?
Just the
Like
8.
I normally would?
Just the 8.
Just the 8? Okay, so an additional 8. Let me quick jot that down. Very cool.
Cool.
That's great too because I have very low HP, because I've been maxing my other stats, and
Right.
I don't normally go for HP as for this class. That's great.
You're welcome.
We would all
Super
like you to stay
fantastic.
alive at this point, too.
You took my weapons. You gave me a collar.
And you got turned into a living bomb for it.
And so, like 2 quick questions. Do I have one of these collars you mentioned? I mean,
You
I
do
don't
not.
think you said that. Okay. And so his Revan's pistol materialized, so he has that back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which
and
it's,
I
so
got
all of your belongings are on the like pew/cot next to you. So your holster with your pistol, your the sword that you had gotten, your coat, your hat, basically everything that's not your pants.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Sweet. I'm trying to think if I would ask him anything else. That probably covers. I think one more question for record. So what of me and my fellow travelers? What is to happen to us now?
That's a fair question as well. Those who came here aboard the ship will have to do some amount of service to the city of Orin before they are free to go and do as they want. You can certainly stay and help them. You can stay here in the city as long as you like. You can go and seek fortune and glory outside the city walls if you choose. It's really up to you.
All right, it's a bit of a newfound freedom then. I am even more grateful for you. Thank you again.
You're welcome, but don't thank me.
All right, well, I jump on the first ship and I take off, and I'm out of there.
Roll a new character, please.
Bye.
Roll some character that wants to stick around for some reason.
Yeah. No, I'll go with Reichert and Tim to see what's up.
Okay. Yeah, at that point, they kind of help you stand up. You're still a little achy at this point, but again, you're feeling much better than you were the day prior. You get on your coat, your boots. When you put on your coat, there is an unfamiliar weight to it that you didn't have prior.
Like in a pocket type thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm noticing that, kind of check, see what's different.
Sure. In your pocket, you find a compass.
I'd like to examine it.
Yeah, it's bigger than like what you'd think of like a carrying around compass. It's more like think of like Sea of Thieves, like the compass that like sits next to the helm, like a fatty compass. And it's made of kind of like a goldish material, very sturdy metal. But yeah, you have a compass.
Okay, and examining it, does it? I'm going to assume a compass works similar to how it does on Earth, but does it seem to be pointing north, like or doing what I would expect a compass to be doing?
Right now, it is actually not. You can see that it does have north, south, east, west on it, but the spindle itself, right now, like if you were to turn it, it just kind of goes with gravity, like wherever you may point it.
Oh, okay. So there's nothing actually pulling on it to be like magnetic north.
Not currently.
Okay,
Yes.
Very interesting. So if I may, I'd like to ask one more question as we're walking.
Sure. Yeah, you, Captain Reichert, and old Tim begin to make your way out of town.
Yeah. Captain, and I don't want to just hold it out in the air because I'm not sure, but a little. Actually, I'm not even going to take it out, but I'm just going to say, what is this? What is this compass I found in my coat?
He looks at you confused. What compass?
Never mind. Perhaps I was mistaken. I just keep walking.
Make me a deception check.
Ooh, okay.
I know where he got it.
Deception. 14.
He just gives you like a okay look, and you continue on your way. So if you look again at the city of Orin, the middle of that center square is where the temple is.
Okay, so we're a good couple miles.
So you are 2 miles away from where the tavern is. You'll have to walk a mile south and then a mile east.
Okay.
To get to the tavern.
Although Revan's sore, am I fine to do a 2-mile walk? Is that?
You're fine to do a 2-mile walk.
Okay.
And actually, you find surprisingly, the longer you're standing, the longer you're moving, getting your blood pumping, the better you feel.
Okay.
The wound isn't nearly as sensitive to the touch as it is before. Like if your coat were to brush up against it, it doesn't sting as much. It's more an annoyance with a minor twinge. But yeah, you push into the tavern, which from the outside, looking at this tavern, you can see this is a building, again, like the rest of the buildings in here, in this city, made of what looks like solid stone. If you think of like the clay, like adobe type buildings, it's like that. Like every single building is that. This one seems to have a post that has been nailed above the door with a sign hanging from it that says the Wolf and Hound.
And having walked that 2 miles, do I observe the same thing as to races? Is it? I'm asking this stupidly. Is it mostly Hewn that we're passing?
Yes. So from
Okay.
in that 2-mile walk, the city is very empty. This is a big city, and there's not a lot of inhabitants in it. So in that 2-mile walk, you may have passed like 10 to 15 people.
So that it feels unusual
Yeah.
for the size of a city. That's weird. Okay.
Yeah. It is also
Interesting.
getting towards evening time. And you can see that now there are like kind of small lanterns, like every, couple hundred yards or so, which are lit up by these little blue lights inside kind of glass cages. But as you push into this tavern, you can see the crew of the Nightingale has gathered. They're making a ruckus. You can actually hear them from outside before you enter the tavern. And you also see the other members of the crew, Tizal, Wander, Council, Felix, in the tavern as well.
I briskly approach them. Ahoy! Good to see you, fellow travelers.
You see your
I am
undead friend.
I am surprised to see you, Captain Revan. They pronounced you dead shortly after the incident.
You can't believe everything you hear. I'm right as rain. Feeling good. I was a bit. That Kraken got the better of me, but I'm doing all right.
Allow me to correct my verbiage, if I may. You were dead on the raft as we were coming into the city.
Can I cast Detect Magic?
Sure. Yeah, if you'd like to.
I will. Does he glow like the rest of them?
He does.
I kind of walk up to Revan and give him a couple knocks on the chest. He's got a new ticker.
Ow!
Yeah, it's quite tender.
You jerk! Get away!
Council looks at Felix and then back to Revan. And then back to Felix. Care to explain?
He's much like the rest of the crew now.
Does this
Did
have
I,
something to
did
do
I
with
explain
why
that to you?
Unfortunately, no. Does this have something to do with why Stan stabbed himself?
I'm not sure what happened there, but I kind of well, I guess it's not a secret, but
Right.
all of the crew have something in their chest.
I lean in. Are you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
I lean in a bit to the two of you and say, in a little quieter voice, my mortality may have been in question for a bit there. And my friend, Captain Reichert, and dear old Tim restored me to my former glory, shall we say. I'm still learning a bit of it for now.
Do you know
I'm not
what
too-
it is?
A bit, and I'd be happy to chat somewhere a little more private at another time about it. Kind of glances around, assuming there's other people that aren't our party there.
There's only
just-
like the two I had mentioned previously.
Okay.
Other than that, the tavern is pretty much full of your party. You do also see two other workers of the tavern that are making their way around.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Well, in good time, I'll be happy to share more with you.
Certainly an impressive feat. Under any
Aye.
definition, but I will respect your wishes for privacy for now.
And Council, I'm happy to see that you float better than I would have thought you would.
Council, just the mask stares blankly at Revan, and he goes to sit down.
Cold.
Let it be a lesson hard learned. Never wear full armor on a ship at sea.
Council taps his chest, saying, "At least I didn't die."
He gives another chuckle, and at that looks up and says, "Around for this table."
Molly, at that point, does in fact get rounds for everybody.
Tizal would hold two tankards up and basically throw a cheers up for Revan coming back.
At which point, the other members of the crew also join in. Woody Guthrie, I don't even remember what the name of his position was. He also stands up.
See the bosun?
No, not the bosun. I can't. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. He stands up as well and says,
Yeah, he is.
He is the bosun?
I thought so. Okay.
That's not who I'm thinking of then. All right, Woody stands up. Says, both to Captain Raven and to Stan Rogers, and he proceeds to try and like drink from the tankard, just like spills it over himself and falls back into his chair. He has had a number at this point.
Tizal just shakes his head.
Some
People cannot handle the ale. He slams two tankards.
Awesome.
Make a Constitution saving throw.
Yes, I love it.
Is Captain Riker nearby?
Yeah.
14.
14? Yeah. You're able to slam two tankards pretty quickly down your beak gullet. And you feel okay.
After all this, Wander leans over Tizal and says, "The ones without feathers and fur, they so confusing. They die, they come back to life. None of this makes any sense."
I'm very surprised. I thought when you die, you just die. But he came back.
Right?
I don't understand. But at least it gives me reason to cheers and drink. I hope he dies and comes back again.
Drinking birds, that's another new one for me as well.
Yeah.
That sounded perfect.
Drunken Luca is coming out now.
Just in the background, it's like,
This is my ploy. This is my ploy to allow me to get drunk and play Dungeons and Dragons with you guys. Like, oh, that's what my character would do.
Until you actually have like a wine skin to drink it from, I don't allow it.
Do the four of them have these collars at the moment? Am I seeing these newfound pieces of jewelry, accessories?
Yes, you see these pieces of jewelry on your former traveling companions.
Are they shiny metal?
They are. They're a duller shiny metal. Think like gunmetal gray as opposed to like a brighter gray, like a silver.
Like an unpolished steel.
Yeah.
Who am I at the table with? Is everybody here?
I imagine, yeah.
Yes, so if you're at basically the crew has now taken several long tables and like pushed them all together into like a Last Supper kind of like long table, and they're all just sitting around and drinking. And from what you can hear, they're starting to like tell stories about Stan and his life, and like cheers to him and drinking more.
So to the 4 adventurers, my traveling companions near me, what I see the 4 of you have found some. No, Siri, no. I see. No, I am saying I see, and it thinks I'm saying Siri.
Ooh, Siri.
The 4 of you have some newfound accessories around your neck. Is that what is with those?
The city of Orin has a policy where one must work in the servitude for a while before they can be trusted to leave of their own volition. In short, these will probably explode if we try to leave without earning our keep.
How explode? Are you certain of that?
Council looks to Felix.
Is this what you were told?
It's what I gathered. I don't assume good things will happen if we try to take these off.
Aye. We'll have to do some investigating. In my line of work, there are certain policies that are meant to be broken.
I believe this policy is fairly logical, sane, if not a bit cynical.
If it means they're going to put me to work at a forge for a while, I'll oblige.
I don't mind helping out none.
Some answers would be delightful, however.
You're all too eager to be thrust into such servitude.
I wanted to take this off immediately. I want answers. I did not come here to be bound.
I have a great many questions about this city and its people as well.
Mm-hmm.
Should we move our party to where Captain Reichert is sitting?
Is Riker
Aye.
nearby?
You can see Captain Reichert is at the head of the table, and he is currently standing. Oh, I need my D4.
Don't step on it.
You liar! You said he wasn't using a fake voice.
What?
Captain Riker. That's his real. That's his real name.
I got my D4. That's in character. No, he's standing at the head of the table, so it's long. The head of the table is basically there's enough room for him to stand before the bar stools that are at the bar behind him. Mm-hmm. And he's standing, and he has his flag currently in the air. He says, "Here's to Stan, who once traded a priceless family heirloom to save me from the nun." The other members of the crew say, "To Stan!" and they all start, down a drink.
To Stan.
Council raises his mug, but he doesn't drink.
And as soon as he's done downing it, he puts it on the table, kind of sloppily wipes the beer off of his face with the sleeve of his coat, and turns to each of you, looks past you to Molly, and says, "Another."
I think I now have 3 mugs in front of me. I'm just gonna push them towards Tizal.
He takes every one of them.
He then
Yeah,
looks,
Revan's still on his first one. He's not looking to get wasted, but he's sipping.
he looks towards you, walking towards him. At which point he looks at Captain Revan and says, "Have you explained the situation?"
A bit. I promised I'd go into some details at another time. The wound, you might say, is still a bit fresh, and letting it all settle. Oh, bye, Barnabas. You were just shrinking out of sight. That was hilarious.
That's my move.
Which Captain Revan. Now, as you look at Captain Reichert, and you can actually see it on a couple, or the rest of the members of the crew, who you can see like higher than their chest. You can see just that slight like healed scar, just like a patch of like pure white skin, where they've been stitched back together. That you didn't really notice before, but now that you know to look for it, you can see it on all the other members of the crew.
Gotcha.
But he continues to look at you expectantly.
Captain Reichert, my condolences for the loss of First Mate Stan.
He was a good first mate.
We knew him but briefly, but he seemed to be quite capable.
That he was. Truly one of a kind. Never met another man like him.
Perhaps sometime tomorrow, my companions and I hope to seek some information about the city and its policies. Do you know to whom we may be able to gather such information?
Yes, I do, and he's a little louder than normal now because he's had a few, just in the short time that he's been here. He starts going, Danny, where's Danny? He's looking around, and you see Molly then go to her son, and kind of like scooch him towards Captain Reichert. Which this is the like small, probably like 11-year-old boy who was on the ship with you. That none of you really got to know in the time that you were there. You probably saw him. They were mostly in their cabin for the weeks that they were on the ship. Every once in a while they would come out for fresh air, but they mostly tried to keep to themselves. And he stands next to Captain Reichert. Captain Reichert puts a hand heavily on Danny's shoulder. He says, Danny is actually looks down at him, a growing magic folk.
Growing magic folk.
He takes lessons from the head of the city, calling himself a Magister. He can take you there tomorrow morning when he goes for his lessons.
That would be much appreciated. Does this Magister have a name?
He does.
Yeah. Good.
His name is High Magister Alabaster Corin. He's right fine gentleman. Got nothing bad to say about him. Likes playing with books too much.
Interesting.
But he's teaching Danny. Isn't that right, Danny? And Danny just kind of looks up at him and says, oh, yeah, I go over and have that. Yes, that's right. He does. He teaches him about books. All right, run along now, Danny. And he pats him on the back. So Danny runs back over to where his sister was, and they're playing.
Huh. I appreciate the insight, Captain Reichert. Unless you get back to your festivities.
One question. A big question. What's inside of you guys' chests?
Oh, that'd be alchemite. How? I didn't, Captain. Oh, he said that the wound is still tender. How did you know there's something inside our chest? Have I already said too much?
I have a way with magic, and I know when there's some about. So I was able to know the magic in your chest.
He kind of eyes you suspiciously.
Captain Revan did share as much.
We haven't traded with you before, have we?
Me?
Yes, you.
Traded? I don't know, have we?
No, you don't. No. Besides the time that you spent on his ship.
Yeah, I think that was the first time meeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
The stones. Yeah, they're inside us.
What kind of alchemite is it?
It's he like kind of taps on his chest, and you see it like light up a little bit, just like very faintly under the skin. There's kind of this like purple glow. So it looks purple.
Have I ever seen alchemite like that?
Probably not. Mostly the colors that you have dealt with were not purple.
Red and blue?
Red, blue, you may have seen white. Certainly you've seen it clear. And maybe you've seen it green as well. I'll say you've seen it green.
Well, you seem to be pretty familiar with these stones. And you know I'm still looking for the blue one.
That's right. Remind me tomorrow. You can come by where I stay while I'm here. I don't stay here. I've got a place that I stay. I can get you some.
That would be excellent.
And not the powdery stuff this time. You get a full one.
All right.
Yay, meth.
Crystal meth. Anything else? And he grabs another ale from Molly, and somebody else at the other end of the table starts telling a story about Stan.
Enough of the serious stuff. Let's have some drinks.
To Stan! And he holds up a tankard. And the rest of the crew joins in, and they begin drinking. And to Stan.
Wander isn't drinking, but every time there's a toast, he like flails one of his limbs up in the air in solidarity.
Does he drink by putting his foot into a glass, like dipping it in?
I gotta say goodnight to kids.
He just
Okay.
goes in a puddle and it lowers them.
Yeah. We could take a break if people want to.
Can he
Sure.
even get drunk?
Don't think so.
Maybe.
You would have to have organs.
Does
Yeah,
he
I-
have a liver?
Do you? Have you ever removed all your organs and tried to get drunk?
Me?
You?
Personally?
Yes.
I have not removed them.
So Spencer, is Wanda more like a treant rather than like a plant person? Like he's an animated tree rather than a person with plant-like features?
Yes.
Mhm.
I would say
Yeah.
that's accurate.
Okay, so he probably doesn't have organs. He's just he's a sentient tree.
Yeah. I picture him, I mean, he could consume things, but kind of like an android, not that much. It doesn't
Right.
really go that far.
This is all stuff Council would be writing down or thinking about. Like, is he a tree? Does he have kidneys? I don't.
Yeah.
Does he poop?
He probably doesn't have the same exact biology as the rest of you. No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Picture it like Khalid. He could push food down his gullet if need be, but
Yes.
nothing happens.
Exactly like
Yes.
It's just there.
that. All right, we're gonna take a break for
All right.
Alright.
5-10 minutes. I'm gonna
Okay.
go put my kids to bed as well. BRB.
I can hear myself.
No, you can't. What? You can?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awkward.
Oh, yeah, no, it's great. I love the chapter. It's great. And it's
Is it a good volume?
Yeah, it's a good volume.
Love you. Oh. Yeah, so what is it exactly? What starts hurting on your head? Like, is it the squeezing in, or? Yeah. I say, because like this one that I've got, the Razor Nari Ultimate, it's got a ton. It's got like a yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. The only thing that might cause you problems with like this model is these are really big, so they do press forward a little, like on my jaw hinge. So I could see if you're sensitive that like maybe you'd start hurting here. But yeah, up top feels great.
We can hear all your audio on Twitch.
Yeah, that's fine.
But only yours.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, this is awkward. Oops. Back to silence.
Got my D&D yogurt. Let's do this. I have so many questions to ask this Magister person. I apologize ahead of time. No, I like this. Slow.
This is great.
elimination. Yeah.
Lots of good lore, lots of good RP.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I love when you kill Adam.
Yeah, do that every session. Although, if I have to lose my weapons as a trade-off, I guess that's worth it.
Probably.
Yes, that was it. All right. Yes, you spend that evening regaling stories of Stan Rogers. Yep, I fixed it. Sorry, Crystal. Since you're one of the only people who watches this. You wake up the next morning. Captain Revan, you, I'm assuming, then spent the night in the inn as well. With everybody else. I'm going to turn this
Aye.
volume down just a tad. Alright, tell me if that music is too loud. Otherwise...
I don't hear it.
I can
Oh, wait.
I'm
I'm
gonna
not.
go into the stream.
Yeah, sounds good.
That's good for me.
Sounds good.
Council spends
Yep.
the night socializing when engaged, but otherwise
Hang on
taking
just a second,
notes.
Sorry.
Oh.
Yes. Oh,
Okay,
she hung up on me.
bye.
Never mind.
It's a power move on stream.
Yeah.
Just establishing dominance.
It looks fine on here. Mic, headphones, chat. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna proceed like everything's working as normal, and if it's not,
Okay.
somebody can tell me otherwise.
I can too.
Would it help if I started crunching my carrots AMSR style?
ASMR.
As long
ASMR.
as you
Yep.
don't eat pasta again, please.
Yeah, get the fettuccine and... Yes, you spend the evening. Captain Revan spends the night in the inn.
Wander is actually hanging out close to Council and asking him what he's taking notes about, and kind of asking similar questions at a very different academic level. He's also curious about these different people, but at a very different level of education going into the deal.
Yeah, Council would openly, like, social rubber duck off of Wanda. He's like, I wonder how long their mourning period is. Like just kind of talking like things like that, and like the intricacies of drinking and cheers and all that kind of stuff. Like, okay. Council seems to be taking notes on Hugh.
And Wander responds with things such as, well, I would imagine morning lasts until afternoon. That's typically how it works.
Council's having a social conversation with essentially a yeti in a mythological status.
Oh my. Oh, that's great. So you guys being probably the only two sober ones. Actually, I guess I didn't hear Felix say that he was drinking.
Felix is drinking.
Okay.
He's gonna try. Like, what's Carrie up to?
Carrie's joining in with everyone.
Okay.
Later into the evening, after he's had a couple, when they begin to like cheers Stan, you can hear him like also join in kind of that tone deaf style that deaf people have, emulating the sound of Stan as well. But that's really the only sound he makes. Other than that, he goes back to being quiet and just kind of like trying to keep up with the conversation, like reading everybody's lips.
Oops.
But after, he gets pretty hammered as well and just kind of gives up, and it is just instead sitting at one end of the table, just enjoying the grouping of the conversation. So if you wanted to try and talk to him or something, you certainly could.
Yeah. Felix is, well, I don't know if like now is the right time to talk about, but Felix is kind of curious like how he feels about his babies are at the bottom of the ocean now. Are they gonna get more cannons?
So you trying to talk to him about this?
Yeah.
He kind of pulls out his little chalkboard thing. I'll just write in my notebook because this will be easier. Because then I can actually like write it out.
Didn't the other cannons look like they were retrieved from the bottom of the ocean?
Yeah, I'm beginning to wonder if
It's a cycle.
if those cannons were from Nightingale 1.
And he just kind of draws this.
It's
Is
just
that an arrow?
it's just a circle.
It's specifically it's a circle with an arrow that goes.
Yeah, an
over
arrow.
it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because if you click on the stream, it goes back to the gallery view, and you can see it bigger.
Oh. Okay.
I'm gonna try to like guess and like were these from Nightingale 1? Like, did you fish them up from the ocean because that's where your old ship was, and they were on your old ship?
He
And,
nods.
and so you'll probably fish them up again.
Nods.
It's a good thing they're sturdy.
Mhm. Yeah. Yep, he confirms what you're asking him.
Felix isn't too worried then. He was a little heartbroken to think of those cannons at the bottom of the ocean now too.
Okay. Yeah, he doesn't seem too worried about it, especially not right now in the state of mind that he's in.
It'll all come round circle.
I think Tizal would probably want to talk to whoever he thinks might have the most knowledge of Orin.
In this group?
Yeah.
Make me...
My gut says he'd probably approach Captain Reichert.
Sure.
But-
yeah, you could certainly try to approach Captain Reichert. Otherwise, there are the other two workers in the tavern as well. Because eventually the other patrons leave as it gets later into the evening. The two workers at the bar are still there, though.
I think he would want to speak to someone that's not necessarily quote unquote stuck here. If that makes any sense.
Sure.
I think he'd want to talk to Reichert.
Okay. Then you could approach Captain Reichert. He's definitely still chatting with the crew. The music's a little loud, so I'm going to turn that down slightly. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. He's still chatting. The rest of the table has quieted down as the night has gone on. I mean, it kind of has crescendoed at already, and it's back on the coming down side of things.
Sure.
But
He would approach him with his tankard out and be like, "To stand."
He's just kind of like staring down into his tankard. And when he hears you to say to stand, he looks up to see if everyone else is doing it. He's to stand. He looks at you to stand. Takes a drink. Tizol, was it?
Yes, tis all.
What can I do for you?
Captain Reichert, I was promised new life here from Pollux. What can you tell me of Oren?
Nothing more than I've already said. It's a city of vagabonds, of dreamers, of bright folk trying to make a better place in the world.
What is outside of Oren?
Oh, there's a whole lot outside of Orin. I haven't explored too much of this continent. I've really only been up to the base of the mountains over there. And he kind of points off to he's pointing at the side of the tavern that you're inside, but he's like basically pointing westward. This is that direction. There's mountains. I've been there to trade with the Dwarn. But that's all. Takes another kind of slow sip.
Yeah, he would like match his drink cadence.
I trust you know of our type of peoples, not Aran, but people that are thrown away from Pollux. I trust you know others who have come here.
Oh, yeah. Loads of them. Yeah, basically this whole city is made up of people that have left the Isles. Some have come down from the north. Any Dwarn you find here, obviously, are going to be from here. This is kind of their side of the world.
I had cellmate who won lottery before me and John won lottery.
What was his name?
Charlie.
Charlie.
Do you know of him?
Charlie. Did he have a last name? Do you know it?
No. I only know him as Charlie.
Takes another sip. I never transported a Charlie. We weren't the only ship, though, that was running between the capital and here. So it's possible that your friend is over here somewhere. How long ago was it?
It's a few weeks, right?
Yeah, like maybe
Yeah.
up to a month or two.
Yeah. Recent month or two.
It's a fair bet that he's here somewhere. Unless, of course, he won the real lottery and they took him out back and shot him.
Ha ha ha. That's grim humor.
There's nothing on his face, just straight. I'm sure he's here, though. Takes another drink.
I will not take more of your time, Captain Reichert. To stand.
To stand. He kind of motions to the rest of the table. Wanders. To stand is just saying everybody around. Takes drinks.
Cool. That's all I wanted to do.
Cool. If nobody else has anything, the rest of the end of the night will come to a close.
Well, Council has a question for Felix. Felix, if I may ask, you have been rather determined on this path of the alchemite during your entire trip. Is this for a project of yours or something along those lines?
He smiles and takes a few puffs of his cigar. Yeah, it's for a project.
Are you building something?
Oh, I'm building something.
And you need this alchemite for fuel, perhaps?
In a way.
Interesting.
If you hang around long enough, you'll probably see it.
Depends how long our interests align. Though, for the sake of my curiosity, I hope it is long enough. That's it.
Cool. The night comes to a close. Eventually, you either retire to your room before the crew leaves, or some of the crew stays at the tavern. Most, however, leave when Captain Reichert leaves, and they go back to where he stays. You get the impression it's not far, because if it was, they probably wouldn't make it. And yeah, that's the remainder of that night.
Okay.
When you wake up in the morning, it is bright, clear day outside. Those who are drinking, your head probably hurts a little bit. But you can hear kind of the normal sounds downstairs of Molly going about work and people moving. Not noisy and boisterous like it was the night before, but just kind of normal tavern operation sounds.
Okay. I wait downstairs for everyone, eager to go see this more of the city and this Magister.
The first person to come down the stairs is actually Danny. You were up before him. He comes down and just kind of looks at you. Like, looks around.
Good morning, Danny.
When you say his name, his eyes just go big. What are you, mister?
That is a good question. You can say I'm curious. I have a question for you, if I may.
Do I need my mom?
That's up to you. It's you are studying magic, Captain Reichert said.
Yeah.
Have you always had a talent for magic, or is this something you learned?
Yeah, Mom says that I was born with it.
Okay.
It's something that just kind of showed up one day, and it hasn't gone away. And it used to be a problem back on the pillars. But now that I'm here, the High Magister says that it's a good thing.
With enough practice, and if you try really hard, I imagine it will be a great thing.
I sure hope so. Someday I hope to be as powerful as the High Magister himself.
Oh. We'll have to see what happens. Council has a moment of like, do I pat him on the head? Like this awkward moment of, and then he just kind of nods and thanks and goes back to waiting.
Is Danny gonna be the big bad?
I was gonna say we need to kill him in his infancy before next campaign. He's the big bad.
Mm-hmm.
This is Hitler as a child. You guys have just- you've
High
Oh,
Magister Danny.
I'm picturing Baby Yoda with the worst mustache.
Oh no.
I imagine the Looper movie. Spoilers. Anyway.
How could you?
That's a great movie.
The rest of the party eventually comes downstairs, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Danny is waiting there for you. Molly just kind of has like little like lunch sacks prepared for each of you. Just with like sandwiches that she's made, and she hands one to Danny as well. She says, "You're gonna be late. You have to go. Like, don't keep the High Magister waiting." Danny just, "Okay, Mom." Gives her a hug and a kiss, then goes wait patiently by the door for you guys to be ready to leave.
Thanks for the lunch, Molly.
I don't know what you eat. It's just sandwiches made with some of the stuff that I could find around here. Pork, I think it is. I'm sorry if it's not to your liking.
It's
you
the
have-
gesture.
Do you have berries? I hate to be that Taran, but
No.
okay. Thank you. No, thank you. Sandwich will do.
Sorry.
And I would look over at Wander and go,
What is a sandwich?
It's like we're traveling with aliens, man.
I just hope it's not as bad as the Sand Wizard.
Hey. Danny opens the door, doesn't even acknowledge it.
Do I have flint and steel nearby or something?
Set the tree on fire.
Suddenly bonfire.
Just find another Florn and rub them together.
Man, strip clubs are a trip.
Oh no.
There's just buckets of water everywhere.
Anyway, Danny heads out the door and leaves you as the tavern starts on fire.
Danny's just sprinting.
No!
Felix puts his goggles on before going out into the daylight.
Yeah, follow Danny.
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys step out into the first time, like full broad daylight for the first time since, for sure, you were on the ship. Potentially before that, who knows? Depending on your own day-night schedule.
Wander puts his arms over his head, and the little tendrils of branches on the ends seem to extend out a little bit further.
Oh, go ahead.
You can go on.
I was just to say there are very few people on the streets right now, just because it's pretty early, like 7, 8 a.m. But those who are, as soon as they see you guys step out of the tavern, they're a little confused. Especially once the big tree person just goes like this, starts spreading for the sky.
Behold, peasants.
Praise the sun.
To get out from under the door, Wander, you almost have to like duck just a little bit. It's kind of like Harry and the Hendersons, like walking around with all these other folk.
I
love your
shade.
goggles, Felix.
So good.
pretty great.
So
Best $12 I've ever spent.
some steampunk role playing stuff or
Yep.
cosplay.
I have $1,000 bird suit in the mail.
What's the bird version of a furry Luca?
It's a
Is that
big
Just
bird.
big bird.
Oh,
So
no.
Reichert, I assume, did Reichert stay at the inn?
No, Riker went back to the place where he stays.
So I don't want to break storytelling here, but I'm hard pressed to find a reason why Revan would go with these indentured servants to their toiling when he's not required to.
If you would rather spend your time doing something else during the day while they go off, you certainly can.
Did you mean sleep at the inn with us? Or do you mean like
No,
with
like
us
going.
Like
No,
going to
no,
meet
yeah,
the
you'd
High
sleep at the
Magister.
inn and hang out with you guys. But yeah, I just mean like going to work for the day. He'd probably attempt to do something more meaningful, or at least probably reach out to Reichert first and kind of.
Oh, we're not going to work. We're going to get
Oh.
answers.
We're going to get answers as to what's going on.
Right.
Oh, for some reason I thought you were actually going to work.
No, we're not
I
going
guess-
to the salt mines.
Okay.
Hi
Okay.
ho.
I mean, we'll probably figure out where we need to go to work off.
Right.
Okay, I
collars,
missed that part. Apologies. Okay, then never mind. Forget what I just said.
Okay.
Yeah, led by our child, who's going to be the leader of the salt mine movement.
Yep. You're gonna rise up against the leaders of Orin. Yeah, Danny leads you through the streets to like a what is almost like a small academy. When you get there, which along the way you notice that most of these buildings are empty. There aren't people in them. But the ones that do have people in them, like you can tell visibly, like there are signs that somebody lives in this building, not that building or that building or that building, but they do live in that building.
How many of these other people have collars?
You notice less than half, but there is still
Okay.
a decent number of other people that do have collars on.
Council muses out loud. There are less people, there seem to be less people than buildings in this city. Which leads me to believe that the city may have existed before people. Or before they arrived. I'm hoping to get an answer to that question.
Is it common knowledge to any of us that there's this kind of cycle that you had mentioned, Spencer? Like life cycle? No, that's not the right way to say it, but
It may be.
The history gap?
yeah.
I think probably the only one who would know, or potentially only ones, would be Felix or Council.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, probably not super normal, like everyday knowledge to the average Hewn. Especially like Hewn are raised more like they're raised to work. Like they're raised to grow up and be something. Like they don't necessarily spend a lot of time at school. It's more like apprenticeships, learning how to sail, depending on where they grew up in the world.
Gotcha.
Iran they don't even take the time to learn proper speech. They're not going to learn about the history of the world.
They only live for like 50 years, don't they?
I don't remember if it was 50 or 75. Was it 50?
I think it's 50, yeah.
Yeah.
And for at least Chasm Dorn, like history is like their thing.
Yeah. Record keeping is all.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Since they're below ground, they tend to ride out some of the cataclysms. Is that the idea?
We don't know.
All right.
You don't know.
All right. Yeah, go to the building.
Okay. Yeah, so you're taken through the streets, where you're actually taken to. If you look back at the map of Orin, the point straight west, where there is like past the temple in the center of town and out to the end of the flat portion.
Okay.
So not the curvature, but before like that big kind of field. There's a academy there, next to a large like tower gateway, connecting this part of the city to that outsider or the outer portion.
Okay.
You also, again, you see these large, like intricately stacked and like designed walls that are easily 30 to 40 feet high, and 10 or more feet thick.
Wow.
And yeah, this academy is, it looks like essentially somebody took like your idea of a wizard's tower, like from a human's perspective, and like built it on top of another building that already existed, that like had a courtyard attached to it.
As we're entering the building, Council will gesture to one of the massive walls and look to Felix. How long do you suppose it would take to build that?
Do I know? Do I have a good idea?
Make your whatever it's history check. Was that what it is? The stonework check.
Yup.
Yeah, knowledge stonework.
What's it? 40 feet tall, 10 feet thick, and like what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 miles long?
Yeah.
At the flat part?
So that's a 16.
16.
Yep.
If you had, I mean, if the entirety of the Dwarn civilization were to come together and to try to build this city, it would take a while. Probably, I mean, if you literally had like every Dwarn working together to do it, it would probably take 50 years.
Wow.
To build something like this, maybe less.
And
Especially if they were using some of their like innate abilities.
yeah. So humans, it would probably take more than a lifetime.
Likely, yes.
I relay that to Council that it'd be longer than a lifetime of a human to build a wall like this.
That was my hypothesis as well. Thank you for your insight.
Can I tell how old this is? How old the wall is?
Make me another stonework history check.
This one's higher.
it.
18.
18.
I lick the stone.
You look at this type of stone. You look at kind of the surrounding area that you're in. You're looking at the wear and tear like on the wall itself, and even on the buildings, because the buildings are made of this similar type of stone, just smaller blocks of it. And this is very, very old. If you had to take a best guess, you would say over 1,000 years old.
Whoa. Well, that answers my
Easily.
question. Jeez.
These walls have been around longer than any of us can remember. Probably 1,000 years.
That begs the question of what convinced the ancestors of whomever was here to build walls this massive to try and keep them out.
When you saw the rubble on our way in, as well as the walls extending out into the ocean, I wonder if this is just a fraction of that former city.
Potentially. Or some of that Kraken's work. Although that doesn't explain the land-facing walls.
It's probably global warming.
Nailed it.
It's that darn rising sea level.
The ice caps are melting.
Yeah, a council kind of stares for a moment and goes back, heads inside.
Okay. Anybody else have anything before they go inside? And Danny kind of just waits in the entrance to this courtyard for the your guys' conversation to stop. He's like kind of tapping his foot, waiting for you to come along.
But listen here, child, the wall!
We're talking about stuff. He turns around and begins to make his way inside. As he goes in, he starts like pointing out different things to you guys, like, oh, I scraped my knee over there, like, oh, that's the first place, you know, that I was able to make a rock levitate or something like that. And he brings you into this building. When you first get inside, it is still also like very much stonework. And he takes you kind of through a grand entrance hall and then up like a side set of stairs that then begins to spiral up, and eventually it comes to an end of where like this stonework is, and then becomes much more rough stonework, more recent. Like it's plain to anyone's eye, not even just the trained eye, that this is a much more recent addition onto the building. And you spiral up until you come to a single doorway at the top of the stairs. At which point Danny knocks and just kind of opens the door. And inside, you can see there are 4 men that are standing, talking to one another. There is a tall, kind of lanky, hewn, his early 30s, who's wearing like a dull, kind of faded purple robe. And you can see that he has kind of on a chain around his necklace. Like he's got kind of a not an elegant necklace or anything, just like a very simple pendant of some sort. There's also a short, more broad dwarf with dark skin, who's wearing a wide-brimmed hat that you take is also to shield his eyes from the sun, who has impeccably taken care of mustache, and he's got a number of rings on each of his fingers. Next to him, there's an older, skinny, hewn man, kind of has the horseshoe style, like, haircut going on, completely bald on top, like almost waxed to a shine. And on a chain around his neck, he actually has a small pair of spectacles that you can see hanging as well. He's very plainly dressed other than that. And next to him, there's another taller, more muscular hewn man, wearing just like an opened, tanned leather vest, and some like cut-off shorts, basically, like the equivalent of this world's version of jorts. And some like tall, laced-up boots, and they're all kind of standing around this not like a big like war council table. Think of it more like like a kitchen table size, but it's standing height, and they're all standing around it, and they're conversing about things. And when Danny opens the room, you notice they say a couple more words, and then they stop, and the first man, the taller, younger faced man, looks at Danny, and he says, "Oh, Danny, we're still meeting right now. How about you stay outside? Tell them we'll be right with them. The council's almost done." Danny says, "Oh, yep, sorry, Grand Magister," and he closes the door. And then he turns around to each of you and says, "Sorry, they're still meeting. They'll be done soon. We'll just wait."
Do you know their names?
No.
Do you know anything about what they do?
They help run different parts of the city. That's all I know, really.
All right. Thank you very much.
He just kind of continues to stand there. Now that he has a chance to stare more at Wander and at Tizal, you can see that he's like studying different things about you. He just kind of like he'll like stare at one of you for a little bit until he catches one of you looking back at him, and then he'll stare at the other one for a little bit and gather some more details until he gets caught again, and then he'll just kind of stare at the ceiling and his feet. This goes on for maybe another 3 to 4 minutes.
Wander starts a small conversation with him and says, "Have you ever noticed that with your kind, when you're small, there's just 4 limbs hanging off? But with my kind, when they're small, it's just a very small number of arms hanging off. And then as we get bigger, we have more and more arms. Wouldn't it be weird if you had more and more arms the taller you got?"
You could just this thought had never entered his mind before. I'm gonna ask the Grand Magister about that. Can I have extra arms? Is that a thing?
It works pretty well for me.
This is all part of his path to becoming the big bad.
He's gonna be General Grievous.
Oh, no.
All the lightsabers. You'll get that someday.
Alchemite lightsabers.
Or he's gonna get inspired by the non and just go staple arms to himself decoratively.
Oh no.
Maybe.
Oh.
Yeah. Go ahead.
While Danny is staring at Wanda, the council kind of stares as well. And he has a random thought. Wanda, are you affected by the seasons?
Well, going out on a limb here, I would say...
Whatever you say is canon. Go for it.
Not exactly the way that you'd see in a typical forest, but there is a bit of when the days get shorter. I don't feel quite as well, and I lose some of my leaves, but I don't go fully brown.
So your kind aren't likened to a specific tree, like there aren't pine tree torn, and there aren't oak tree torn.
Oh, certainly.
Ah. Interesting. Thank you.
And what kind are you?
Maple. That I suppose it hasn't come up now, then, has it? My full name is Wonder Maple. So you have a lot of torn names like Wonder Maple. There's Tall Oak, Jerk Pine. Just kind of depends on the particular individual.
Jerk Pine.
I can't wait for you guys to meet Jerk Pine now.
He's just this curmudgeon-y tree.
What do you want? Get off my lawn.
Needles.
1,000 needle. He's actually a cactar.
This is amazing.
The door opens, and they're all still standing at the table. And the shorter gentleman, or the tall, lanky gentleman from before, motions you, and he says, "Oh, Danny, come on, bring your new friends in. I'll introduce them to the council as some of the newest citizens here in Orin." You all come inside, and the door, he kind of gives a flick of his wrist, and the door closes behind you. He says, "First of all, I'm High Magister Alabaster Corin. I'd like to thank you for coming to the fine city of Orin, for whatever purpose you may have come here, or under whatever circumstances you may have come here. Let me introduce you to these fine gentlemen here next to me, and then you may introduce yourselves. And I'll explain some things, and then you can ask some questions. Is that agreeable?"
Sounds fair to me.
Aye.
He
Thanks.
motions to the short dwarn next to him. He says, "This here is Varric Thunder. You can call him Guildmaster Thunder, if you so choose. He is the head of our Merchants Guild here in Orin. He makes sure that all sales, all trades, all business is done right and proper according to both Orin and Dwarn law." As he steps forward, you can again see the rings on his hand. He just kind of nods to Felix, and tips his hat to the rest of you, and says, "Howdy." He then motions to the tall, older gentleman with the spectacles on his chain around his neck. He says, "This is Lex Crowley. He is the dockmaster here. Make sure that all the ships are on time, that all goods aboard them are fair, that all are accounted for, and he also helps to make sure any naval adventures around the city of Orin are taken care of, that they are done to the utmost standards that we hold for our captains here in this fair city." And he just kind of gives like a small bow, not like a full bow, just a like half or like quarter bow. Says, "Pleasure." And this final gentleman here, and he motions to the taller, thick gentleman. He says, "This is Jason Verneth. He is the captain of the guard, the military, and is in charge of protecting the city of Orin from any wild beasts, whether they be from ocean or land. As well as if any citizens get out of control, that's also within his call." And he...
What was his name?
Jason Verneth.
Thank you.
Yep.
And this is the guy in the purple robes, right? The tall hewn in the purple robes?
The guy talking?
Yes.
Yes. He's the one with the tall faded robes. Yeah. Jason steps forward and says, "Good eye. They are potentially some people that you will be dealing with here in the short future, depending on how you would like to return the debt owed to the city of Orin. Don't think of it as a debt. Think of it more as a way to help us build the city of Orin and make it even better for those who are outcast or downtrodden by the High Baroness and any others that seek to get rid of the unmentionables of society.
It seems we do not have much choice.
About that, I do apologize, and he kind of motions to his neck, which you see has no collar on it. He says, I promise those are a precautionary measure only. There is no intention of using them. We have had to before in the past, on rare occasions, but mostly they're just to ensure that those who come into our city help us to make it a better place before they move on. Because you should never go somewhere without leaving it a better place than you found it.
Could you be a bit more particular about the things that might cause these to create fire, which I'm opposed to? I've had instances in the past of not fully understanding expectations of various different cultures, and I'd rather avoid any misunderstandings.
That is understandable, and he looks you up and down. He says, I must admit, you are the first of your kind that we've had within the walls of this fair city. We didn't have a collar big enough. I don't call him a collar. Think of him more as a necklace. A collar is for dogs. You're not dogs.
No, but some of my best friends are dogs.
He seems genuinely perplexed. You were too big for one, so we had to fashion two. They will only be a problem should you try to tamper with them and remove them without proper authority, or if you seek to leave the city without performing the rites given to you. Or not given to you, that you've selected.
How long do you imagine us to be in such servitude?
That's a very fair question. It depends on the... First of all, let's take a step back. Don't think of it as servitude. Think of it as service. You're not a servant. You're one who's volunteering to serve. You have the option to not serve, but the outcome is not nearly as nice, and you don't get paid.
If the outcome is death, do we have choice to serve or not serve?
You could certainly choose death. It's your option.
So if I was brought to Oren against my will, and now I'm being told I will be killed, what kind of choice do you think that is?
How about I tell you what opportunities you have here in Oren, and then you
Please.
tell me whether they sound worse than death.
Sure. Please continue.
Back to the first question. How long do we imagine it'll be happening, or that you'll be in these circumstances? So that depends entirely upon the trying to think of the proper word. The size of the gesture, or the size of the effort that you'll be going through for the city of Oren. Now, there was another crew or member aboard your ship who came here. Her name was... Danny, what's your mother's name? She says, Molly. That's right, Molly. Molly has chosen to help out in town, to help out at a local tavern, I understand it. She'll be doing that for about a month, and then she'll be able to take it off or we'll take it off for her. She'll be able to do whatever she wants at that point. If she wants to continue staying here, she's made friends, she's made a life for herself. That's her prerogative. If, however, she'd like to leave, she certainly can. For those of a more adventurous lifestyle, as I believe you have, not nearly as long. Would you be interested in hearing those options? Or would you like to get jobs here?
I look to Revan. I'm curious what your endeavors will, or where they will lead you, since you do not have a collar.
I'm curious of the same. For now, I'm here to listen.
Let's hear those adventuring options.
You Dwarven are smart.
Yes.
Excuse me? I was kidding.
Your first option is to help Captain Verneth to clear out the southeastern portion of the city. If you look, and he then rolls out a map that he kind of like conjures out of a cubby in a hole in the wall out onto the table and lays it out before you, and it's very similar to the one that I've drawn there. He says, if you look, there is a large wall separating the portion of the city that we are in and a southeastern portion where
We can
Non...
see your mouse now.
What?
We can see your mouse now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can't see my session notes, can you?
No.
So
I see where it says kill Revan again.
No, my
Seven?
Revan is just the Kenny of our campaign.
Just
Every
session.
single session, he dies.
You killed Revan, you
And-
bastard.
The next session, he's just back somehow.
You guys just never acknowledge it. Just move on.
Yeah.
He's
Hey,
always eaten by rats in the end.
This portion, he motions over here where I'm motioning with my mouse, is currently unoccupied. Besides for a number of non who have decided to take up some amount of ownership of the portion of the city. We are attempting to build or continue building our wall to separate the ocean and ourselves so as to keep them out, because they do have a tendency to attack us on sight, and that's certainly not nice. So you'd be helping Captain Verneth to clear out some of them and aid in the construction of that wall. Shouldn't take more than a day or two. The second option is to travel to the mountains to the west and recover the bodies of some of previous folk who we sent into the mountains. We are awfully short on necklaces, and there's more and more people coming into our city each day, and so we would like to have those back.
Why were they sent to the mountains?
You don't need to worry about that.
But they died.
Well, that's because they were outside of the walls of a city. Cities are safe.
How do you know they're dead and they didn't just run away?
If you think that the necklace around your neck is only there for us to punish you, you're wrong. It's also for tracking.
So they died not because of necklace, because of
Oh, heavens no. We haven't had to detonate one of those in, probably a good couple months.
Especially if the necklaces are in short supply, you'd rather not.
Alchemite is very expensive and hard to come by. The Dorn see to that. The third option just north of our wall, there is a beacon that we would like to light. Where'd my music go? Oh, it's just a silent part? There we go. Excuse me. There is a beacon that we would like to light. We've found in the time that we've been here in this city that the city has a sort of defense system. If we can either wipe out the encampment of Non that are around that beacon, or sneak in and light the beacon without their knowledge or their awareness, that would also be a great help to the city. We can reach the other 3, but not that one. So that's the third option. Fourth option is to travel a full day's journey northward. This will probably take the longest bit of time. Is to travel a full day's journey north out of town to a small outpost of outcasts from this city who have set up what they're calling New Orin. Very, very creative. We're not sure what they're up to, and we'd like to know. But if we, being the leaders of the city, or those of us who are friends or familiar with them, it may cause some alarm. So we need some fresh faces to go in, find out what they're doing, see if they're trying to contact with the High Baroness or any of the other leaders from the Pillars or any of the Jarls up north. Basically, if they're going to cause any trouble for us. And return and report on that.
And this would be an outpost of folks that still had their collar necklaces on?
No, these are all folk that were here for a period of time and then decided to leave of their own free will.
Oh, okay.
For one reason or another.
You call them outcasts. That seems to denote that they were asked to leave.
The leader, yes. He was asked to leave the city. Certainly, we thought he would wander off into the mountains and die, or off into the sea and die somehow. But instead, he seemed to have amassed a small gathering of people to go with him.
What was the name of this leader?
Why do you ask?
Call me curious.
Make me a persuasion check.
Persuasion is a 15.
15?
Mm-hmm.
Goes by the name James. Wasn't privy to his last name. He's calling himself by some other title that I don't remember now. But that's his name, is James. Now, I've given you your options. I don't expect you to answer today. I do expect an answer by tomorrow morning, hopefully, so that we can get you guys on your way with one of these choices. Now, I believe you have some questions for me. And let me excuse my friends here. And he motions to the council. Says, you can all go about your duties. Thank you for your time. See you tomorrow, same time. They all kind of nod and head their way. And he motions to Danny. Danny, this will just be a minute or two more. Very sorry. Why don't you go grab a book off the shelf and entertain yourself? And he kind of like motions to you guys to step up to the table that he's been standing in front of.
Council lets other people go first.
No, I haven't been traveling with this group for very long, but I would say there's an outstanding chance that the discussion of selecting which of these options is going to take an enormous amount of time. Just to give you some fair warning.
That's why
Danny,
I'm giving you
get
all
more
day.
books.
Again, you don't have to have an answer to me by the time you leave here today. In fact, I don't expect you to. Most people take the day to think about it.
Huh?
Now, you mentioned this security system.
Yes.
Do you know what it actually does?
It creates a force field of some kind. As far as we can
Impressive.
surmise.
So it's more of a defensive.
Absolutely.
Is it safe to assume this was in place before your time at Oren?
Oh, absolutely. This is I've never seen anything like this before. This was made by far cleverer hands than my own.
How long have you been the Magister of the city?
Magister of this city, I've been here roughly 5 years. Now, how long I've been in the city, that's a different question.
That was my follow-up question.
I came here at the right young age of 10. Came over with me ma and pa, who've since passed on.
Council stands as if he's waiting for a number. Being told that he was 10 when he got here doesn't answer the question. Okay.
How long has Orin been such a city with people floating in and whatnot?
Well, we were some of the first. When we left our home in the Pillars, we were vagabonds. And we came here and just happened to find a city half submerged into the ocean. And we started at that time to make it our own. And slowly others came. Sorry.
Have you explored much of the sunken city?
No. Anytime we try, those darn Nun just fight us back.
And what did you find here when you first came? Obviously, the buildings were here, but anything interesting in the buildings?
There are still entire portions of the city that we haven't been into. Nothing that really stands out. Most of the buildings don't even look like they were inhabited.
You said we came to Oren. Who is we?
Me, my mom, my pa, and a small handful of other folks.
You left the pillars together. Why?
Back at the time that we left, I wasn't told the real reasoning why. Now that I think back on it a bit, or I've had some time to think back on it, I believe my dad was viewed as some sort of political rival, not exactly sure.
That
But
aligns with why we were asked to leave as well.
this was a long time ago. You said that they're still having political problems.
It seems so.
I
Are you
heard.
surprised?
not surprised. Certainly had hoped better.
I do have a question that just pertains to myself, if you don't mind me asking.
Go right ahead.
Could I have access to a forge? I'd be willing to help out whoever's occupying the forge, if in turn I can work on some of my own projects.
Now that's an interesting proposition. Here in the city of Oran, we don't actually have a forge of our own.
That's troubling.
We've any materials that we receive have come from the Dorn and the nearby mountains.
Suppose why do it yourself when they can do it better?
That's a fair point. As you can see, we have a number of Dorn that have settled here in Oran. Probably more the out and about type, not so much the chasm variety.
Is there a means for us to outfit ourselves before going on one of these missions?
Certainly. Should you require anything, I'm sure that Jason would be able to help you to get settled with whatever you may need.
Wonder tries to gently elbow Council, but unintentionally elbows him far too hard and says, I think you might be able to get your weapon and possibly a shield back. Sorry about that whole incident on the boat. I did my best.
I would rather have my life than my equipment, Wanda. Thank you.
Now, were there any buildings that you discovered that had? I mean, whoever lived here before you must have done some sort of metalworking.
Not that we'd found as yet. Again, there's portions of the city that we have never seen, but of what we could see, nothing.
Curious.
Have you noticed any patterns or increases in how do I word this? Hostile forces outside your walls? Has the frequency of conflict been increasing?
Aside from the one who was asked to leave, not so much.
So the creatures and Nan have been fairly steady throughout the decades?
The Nan have been troubling ever since we got here. Can't say that I've noticed if they've necessarily picked up in their ways. Now that you do mention it, though, I do think that we have a certain more number of ships that are being attacked.
Have the Nan ever expressed any type of verbal communication? A desire for you to leave? Territorial, perhaps?
It certainly seems territorial, if I'm being real honest with you, and I'm not the military expert. If you have questions of that sort, you might ask Jason. I would say it seems more territorial than anything else. I don't know why they would find this place special. It's not wet. At least yet.
I know little of their history or habits, but if they are in the city, it must mean something.
Certainly possible. They do seem to stick to the coastlines a bit more than the open ocean. At least as far as I've seen.
If I were to speak with the captain of the guard, where would I go?
You could find him actually most days patrolling the market, which is right around the main temple in the middle of town.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There's usually fairly little for him to do. Again, we only had the one real uprising of sorts.
Have you had any communication with other groups outside of Orin? Aside from this outcast group?
No. Everyone who makes their way here tends to drift towards Orin.
Magistrate.
Magister. Magister.
Magister, sorry. I've heard tales of communicating to a creature over vast distances.
I'm
Is
aware of magic of that sort.
is that the sort of thing that you have access to?
I don't know it off the top of my head, but I've got volumes of books, and he motions to kind of the walls of this chamber that he's in, which you can see it's very much like Beauty and the Beast library, where it's just like kind of floor to wall, like floor to ceiling books.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I've got a vast library. It's certainly something I could start trying to investigate. And maybe even with someone like Danny's help, we might be able to find something like that. What's your purpose?
I'd love to get in touch with an old friend back at the Pillars.
I'm not sure which friend you be meaning, but I have to discourage any communication with folks from back there. Only because should they catch wind of the life that we have for ourselves here, it very well might put it in danger.
Okay. It's an air of uncertainty. And in these adventures that you spoke of,
Yes.
as I'm looking for a way in the short term to occupy myself for a bit, would there be any compensation for someone in my position if I were to assist these lads?
Oh, there's compensation for any and all who want to adventure, even for those that have the necklaces. I mentioned that there would be pay. Outside of just your freedom.
No, you did not.
I'm certain that I did. I've got notes on it.
I don't have notes on it.
He did.
Council
You did?
Huff-
Okay.
You did? Okay.
Council Huff
Sorry, I
and
missed.
Magister says-
I missed it too.
I missed it too.
Totally
Yes.
fine.
It was a lot
was
of info.
subtle.
So I
Yeah.
took notes, but I missed a couple things, obviously.
I wouldn't
but-
be surprised if there are things that get missed. In fact,
All
I'm
right. Well,
counting on
that's. Sorry.
it. Nothing.
Oh. All right. That's. It's
You
good
seek
to know.
return to your crew, don't you, Captain Revan?
I would love to return to my crew. They're my family, and to see my home, my ship once again. That's the friend that I spoke of, and they're not necessarily from there, but maybe residing there temporarily. It was the last time I saw them, and that was the port we most frequented. but we can revisit that later.
There may be a day when you're able to return home. But I'm not certain when that'll be, and I can't promise you that it'll be anytime soon. I don't want to appear paranoid. I hope that's not how you perceive me.
Council just taps his necklace.
Yeah.
I understand your concern and some of your gripes. But I assure you, it's only for the future of this city that any of this is done.
On a slightly different topic, the council gestures to the library. Were these brought over, or were some of these here before you settled?
Most of these, to my recollection, have been brought over. There may be a small handful of them, but they're written in Dwarn and I can't read them.
I would greatly like to find the ones that existed before the city was populated.
You mean the books, sorry. That's what you mean? The books that existed, not the people?
Yes, correct. Many of my questions and...
I see your eyebrow bird, man. And no, there weren't any people. I'm not saying that there were people here before us.
Okay, you guys, you saw the eyebrow.
I see your eyebrows.
Birds don't have eyebrows.
They've got brows over their eyes. Like.
Have you seen a bald eagle? They sad, man.
He actually just has like a strip of paper to his eyes, like when the parrots put paper in their feathers.
2 pieces of felt.
I have different positioned ones to swap out my moods.
Yep. Are you wearing your angry eyebrows today?
I'm wearing my startled ones.
Just a letter V.
Much of the motivation behind my being here has to do with, may align with information within those books.
I thought your motivation for being here was a bit different than that.
Oh, let's hope they wrote in stone, because I'm not sure any books would still be around.
Ooh.
Well, we'll see what we can find.
And I wonder Go ahead.
Which of the adventures you have asked us to take on poses the biggest threat to Oren?
In my estimation, and again, I'm not the military expert, so take it with a grain of salt. Certainly getting the self-defense or the defense mechanism up for the city would provide the most benefit. That being said, it's mighty dangerous. Probably the most dangerous of the missions. Whereas the mission to the southeast will have a small handful of none that might be harassing you throughout the night or day, depending on what time you go on your ventures. The adventure to the north east, they've made an encampment around it. Either you're going to have a lot of firepower, or you're going to have to be very sneaky.
Are they not open to conversation?
They haven't been so far. By the way, if you choose that one and you find any necklaces and bring them back, I'll pay you for them.
Are all the adventures equal in servitude?
How do you mean?
Duration of necklace wearing, I imagine.
Oh, any one of them.
Yes.
Once you've finished it, you're free to go. Any one of those is worth a month of serving as a barmaid,
Could I do that?
if you'd like. I did offer that.
Do kind of like.
No, you give the drinks. You don't drink them.
Oh no, I don't want to do that.
The security system you mentioned, that choice would be fraught with danger.
Terrible.
Would it be more dangerous than a battle with a Kraken?
It might be.
Aye.
Seems most of you survived a fight with a Kraken.
It wasn't
We
much
did.
of a fight.
You
Although
heard the story.
The Nightingale was carrying quite a few books. Were those destined for you?
That they were. Most of those have ended up here. Or they would have, had the ship not sank.
Aye. They rest down at the bottom of the seafloor now.
Aye. Valuable knowledge lost.
Well, it seems we have some talking. Oh, go ahead. You got more questions?
I have one more question. Sorry, Devin. If we do decide to go northeast to meet the new Oran, you said we would need firepower. Is that something Captain Vernoth can assist us with, or would we be on our own?
No, facing the non-encampment, you need a lot of firepower. To head to New Orin, as they're calling themselves, you just have to go and be friendly.
Oh, okay. That's what I was asking about, the compensation. Okay, sorry.
Oh, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
I misunderstood that as well. I
Yeah.
thought the Northeast was New Warren.
No, north.
North
so
is the self.
Can you guys still
defense
see my
mission?
mouse?
Southeast is the non.
So there's two
Well, south-
two non.
Two nons, sounds like.
So to the southeast, down here. Can you guys see my mouse?
Not anymore.
Nope.
How about now?
No.
Dang it! All right.
Nope.
So along that green area, like the wall that goes straight down on the page.
Yep.
That is the building out the wall further area. That is the small group of non. Up
Right.
where the hewn created wall, where that meets the Dwarn created wall. That is where the encampment of non is. So it's basically like, do you want to wipe out a small group of non and help them to build this wall? Or do you want to face like an entire encampment of non / be sneaky if you want to go that route?
the encampment is the one to light the beacon. Those are one and the same.
Yes, the encampment is the beacon.
Okay, that's where I misunderstood.
Sorry. Yeah.
Small group clear out city, big group like beacon.
Yes.
Right. Oh.
And then
Okay, so then-
northeast, the northeast is the
Yeah. North up the coast is where the small outpost of New Orin is.
And then the westerly mountains,
Correct.
where the dead are.
So my question would be then, if we go to beacon and non-encampment, would Captain Vernoth be able to provide assistance, or would we be on our own?
You could certainly ask Captain Vernoth for assistance. However, all attempts to light the beacon up to this point have resulted in failure and death. So
you're saying it would make a wonderful story?
oh no.
If glory and stories is what you're after, then certainly
So you're saying there's a chance?
I'm saying you might want to level up a little bit before you try that one. But there is a chance.
One more question. Those who died in the West, do you know how?
No. Know that their bodies made it into the mountain, but that's as much as I know.
And you still choose not to reveal why they were there.
Not yet.
Well, without such information, then the likelihood of choosing that mission is slim.
Tell you what. Are you a betting man?
Betting is illogical.
Is that a no?
Tizal raises his wing.
I will defer to my bird companion.
What are the odds?
I just happen to have a coin here. He pulls out a gold coin.
He looks at it like it's catnip.
Says, I'll flip this. If it comes up heads, I'll tell you why they went in there. If it comes
What's
up
the-
tails... Oh, go ahead.
I mean, come on. You're going to make me heads with a coin that has tails?
Do you want to be tails?
Yes, I have tail.
You also have a head.
Everyone has heads. You don't have tail feather.
Fair enough. Tails, then. I'll tell you why they went in there. Heads. I get to choose what your adventure is.
Both options are losses.
This didn't no longer is a choice for Tizal to make.
We will converse on our choice.
Flips the coin and catches it.
Tails.
I'll keep my coin.
No, bad Raven.
If that's all, we've taken up a lot of Danny's time. He looks over to Danny, who's just kind of like laying on his back on top of like some pillows with like the books just around him. He's just gazing at the ceiling.
Enjoy your lesson, Danny.
Oh, I certainly will. Come back tomorrow morning. Have a decision by then. Until then, the day is yours. Feel free to do as you please.
All right. Council nods and ducks out of the room.
He again gives a wave of his wrist, and the door opens.
As we're leaving, Wander glances back at Danny and waits until he makes eye contact, and then just slightly kind of flares out a few of his branches and gives him a look.
He just... like he starts paying attention to whatever Alabaster's saying again.
Danny suddenly wants to focus on transmutation.
Don't understand it. All right, you guys leave, and you're free to explore, to converse, to do whatever you want to do for the rest of the day.
I go to where Captain Riker is staying.
Okay.
I quickly ask everyone what they plan to do before leaving.
Smart.
I tell him I'm going to visit Captain Riker. We have some business.
Ah, you're alchemite. I wish you the best of that.
Are you going to get his opinion on the options of the adventures while you speak to him on your private matter?
No.
Not the answer I was expecting, but that's
I've made my mind up. I'll see what you guys think.
Well, yeah, ask your
The answer seems simple to me. If we're to stay in this town of Orin for a bit, don't we want to be as safe as we can? Protecting those who are living here with us.
I choose the one where there is the most knowledge to be gathered.
Which one would that be?
Yeah.
I think me and Revan are thinking the same one. I want to see
yeah.
how this ancient technology works.
I see.
I'm also terribly curious about the force field.
I have skills that could allow stealthily accessing the beacon at night.
I've managed to do a fair amount of sneaking around myself.
Council, what is your thought?
The most logical choice would be to take the simplest task, not the most difficult at first. Especially since so many have failed, it would be unwise for us to assume that we are greater than others.
That was a concern of mine as well.
As long
Perhaps.
as, if we're talking about doing more than one, I think it makes sense to perhaps do one that's a little bit easier, get to know each other's styles a bit, work together, and then perhaps do something more difficult. But I'm wondering if there's anyone here that is one and done and then wants to leave Orin.
I have
If
no plans to
that's
leave immediately, but at the same time, I do not know if I fully trust all of you to fight to the death, back to back, surrounded by enemies, right off the bat.
I suppose I would like to activate the beacon eventually, but I think maybe doing an easier one first. I'm very close to finishing a certain something that might help us.
With the greatest risk often comes the greatest reward. Unless ye are intending to stay here for longer than necessary, why wouldn't we move ahead to a more difficult task? It seems we're a capable lot.
Based on what?
Where do you plan to go? We know nothing of the surrounding area. We only know of Oren, and right now I am shackled by a collar that is going to explode. I want this off first, then we decide more.
This actually seems like a decent place to set up shop for me. And it seems to be out of reach of anyone who might be nosing in our business.
Do not have family or friends you wish to be back with again.
Oh, I'm closer to them now than I was before.
Oh, is that so?
Well, the home of the Chasm Dwarves, Dorn, is not too far away. Certainly closer than in the middle of the ocean.
My vote is either fight none at southeast or travel to New Oren. Southeast seems fastest to pay off debt.
I do agree with that.
I will have to contemplate on this decision before coming to a conclusion. But first, I'm going to speak to the captain about our equipment.
We do have all day. We could do a bit of reconnaissance.
Agreed. I will be at the inn this evening. the council starts walking towards the marketplace. That's where he was.
Where are we right now, Spencer?
You are at. I wish you guys could see my mouse.
Are we still in the academy?
I can see your. Wait, that's my mouse.
I can see it all.
I was so excited, but I was just leaning forward and pushing my mouse up while I was leaning forward.
You are at the most western point of the city.
Are we still in the academy, or have we left?
I'm assuming that you had started walking. Maybe not.
I figured we
Yeah,
were walking. We were leaving.
I was assuming that we were walking as well. Let's not waste any time.
Kind of wanted to talk to Lex Crowley, but that's fine. In my downtime.
We can assume that the tavern is our home base.
Mhm.
So who's going where? Who's doing what?
I think it sounds like a lot of us are going to Captain Reichert.
I'm going to the market to talk to the guard captain.
That's right. Since you are, is anyone else going to the marketplace?
I'll if it's all right with council, I'll tag along.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll take care of you two then, and then the other three. Captain Brevin, I'm assuming that you are going along as well to visit Captain Reichert.
Yes.
We'll take care of Wander and Council first. So you make your way straight east towards the center of the city. Basically, the temple in the middle of the city is also where the marketplace is. It is all around that.
Okay.
So you see there's kind of like the inner squares to that like big square mile. So the inner squares to that is like this bigger marketplace. It's kind of a cleared out area, just like big flat space around this big temple in the middle.
Okay.
Where you notice that most of the buildings around the outside of it have been set up with like shops. There's a couple stands as well that are more like out in the middle.
Okay. Cool.
And if you are looking for the captain, you do see him kind of patrolling around the marketplace.
All right. Yeah, taking the sights, see all the what people are doing and trading and such, and then make my way over to him.
Okay. You gather at, especially at like this point in the day, this is where the majority of people are in the city, which again is only a couple hundred, as far as you can tell. There are other people that are spread out throughout the city doing other things, but this is kind of the main gathering point or the main social hub in the city.
I'm enjoying watching people. I imagine they're gawking at Wander.
Yeah, kind of everywhere Wander goes, there's a commotion. Here, the people seem maybe a little more open-minded. There's not like openly gawking at Wander, but they're certainly like giving him fair space, making sure not to be in his way or anything like that. You get the impression. Oh, go ahead.
Wander does a bit of waving to try and put them at ease.
The queen wave. Just
There are a couple like children maybe that wave back at you, and a couple adults that like are like, oh, "Hey, weirdo," kind of give you the wave back. But for the most part, people, as soon as they see you, look at them, just kind of like look ahead at what they were doing, or go back to trying to hawk their wares or whatever it is that they're selling. You do get the feeling though that just by seeing the collar on you, they feel a little more safe.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you see the captain.
Oh, what was his name again?
Jason
Vernoth?
Jason Verneth.
Yep.
Captain Verneth, if
Oh,
I may.
right. I didn't catch your name earlier. What was your name?
I am known as Counsel, and this is my companion, Wanda Maple.
Nice to meet you. He puts out a hand.
I look at it for a moment and then shake it.
He seems appreciative. Does the same for Wander.
Wander doesn't grab the hand. He does a less formal bow, but still equally as awkward, kind of.
With his hand still extended, he's just like, right. What can I do for you?
We have just completed our meeting with the Magister. He has asked us, given us some options for some missions outside of the city. During our conversation, it came up that the question of equipment may be handled
Right.
by you.
What kind of equipment are you needing?
I can only speak for myself. I'm not sure of my companions, but I pull out the light crossbow that Felix gave me. During my trying to survive with the events on the ship, I lost a smaller one-handed version of this weapon. I was hoping I could find a replacement.
Oh, that's a real shame. Well, I've heard tales of such a thing. Don't think I've seen one, though. You're thinking small enough to be carried in one hand?
Yes, I had one of those and a shield.
A shield I could do. Absolutely.
Better than nothing.
Not sure about a hand crossbow, though. And he gestures to Wander then. Are you more a up-close stabby type or a shoot from afar type?
More of a, I'm a brawler, if you will. Just hands and fists.
All right. That's interesting. I guess I've never seen your kind of fight before. That's very interesting.
Oh, it's a fearsome, terrible thing, let me assure you.
I'll be sure not to anger you then.
Go ahead.
No, just gonna ask, do you need him right now, or can you wait till tomorrow?
Wait until before we leave is fine. Tomorrow
Alright.
should be fine.
If
Has the city come under attack from the what was the direction? West.
from the west, from the mountains?
Well, from outside the non-ocean parts of the city.
Every once in a while, we'll see a wild beast or something out there in the sands, but not too much to worry about.
Mostly from the ocean, then.
Right. At least, here.
Interesting. All right, thank you. That answers all of my questions.
Very welcome. Help you with anything, Maple? Wanda Maple?
Indeed. Not that I can think of.
Alright. Well, should I see you? Well, I will see you tomorrow morning because I've got to get you the stuff. If you choose to go on one or more of the stabby adventures, I'd be happy to travel alongside you. Certainly to give some guidance, maybe some extra help. Not a lot of action for me. So when I get a chance to go for a couple of rounds, I like to.
Fantastic. The more the merrier.
I do have one last question, and I apologize if it seems strange.
Oh, Right
And
in.
have you captured any non?
No, that not that I can recall. Let me think about that. No.
I'm curious as to what their goals are and was hoping for potential conversation, but it was a long shot.
I've had dealings with none before. Seemed fine enough. This variety seems a little more feral, almost rabid. Not right in the head, if you will.
Is it accurate to say they may have unsightly extra limbs, or?
Oh, all the non are like that. They've got their ideas of what beauty is, and they try to get it in any way that they can. Sometimes that means adding extra limbs, sometimes that means augmenting their bodies in other types of ways. Sometimes it means even removing limbs. Some of them, not all of them have tails. Some of the other kind have got more legs. Some have got more flippers. Really kind of a whole gambit. And none of them seem to really be pleased with what they look like. They all strive to change it in some way. At least of what I've seen. Can't say it works that way for all of them, but from what I can tell, they're always trying to achieve some unattainable goal for what good and what beautiful is.
I'm very curious. Sounds like a certain Hune I encountered before coming here. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Very welcome. I will see you tomorrow, and I'll have anything you should need for your adventures.
Thank
Good
you
eye.
again.
And he
Yeah.
kind of goes back to walking around the perimeter.
I'm gonna enjoy the market, gonna watch some people, see if there's any little knickknacks for sale. Oh, I don't have any money. Never mind. I'm just gonna enjoy the market. Look at the people.
Okay. Those of you who go to see Captain Reichert, then, you first make your way back to the inn because you're unsure where Captain Reichert exactly lives. But Molly's able to kind of point you in the right direction, to, make sure that you get there safely. And you make your way to Captain Reichert's, or at least where he is based for the time being.
Is this different than the place where I woke up at?
It is. Yes, you woke up
Oh,
in the
okay.
temple in the middle of town. You did not wake up at Captain Reichert's.
Right. Okay. I didn't know if he lived there. Okay.
Oh, no.
Just a heads up, I only have about 10 more minutes or so.
Yep. Did you guys want to cover this next time, or did you want to cover it tonight? Either's fine by me.
Doesn't
fine
matter
either
too
way.
much to me. I didn't think my visit was going to be very long, unless
No, you guys can go ahead.
Yeah, I just had a question or two. Mine should take a minute or so.
Okay, cool. You get to where Captain Reichert lives. He is there with you can see still like kind of in the progress, like it's only been like a couple hours since you guys left in the morning. So it's not even like noon yet. And you can see that like he's making eggs or something like while the rest of the crew wakes up. And just like looking in the window, because none of the buildings here like have windows. It's just kind of like a hole cut into the stone. You can see him inside where he is, and looking out, he sees you standing out there and motions for you to come inside.
come on inside.
Yep.
Good morning. Sorry to sneak out last night. We got to a point where our senses were no longer with us, and so we thought it best to leave.
You were 3 sheets to the wind, as it would be.
That's a fair assessment. Oh, before I forget, Felix, and he kind of points to a small, like, brown wrapped parcel on a chair. He says, "That is what you have been promised. I hope it is to your liking. And if it's not, I'm sorry."
I open it, or I go look inside of it.
Sure.
Kind of just like a peek. I don't like whip everything out, but
Yeah.
just want to see what's inside.
Yeah, it's basically like, imagine you just got something like from the butcher. It's like butcher paper, like wrapped around a package of something. So you open it up, and like right away from inside, you can see that kind of like blue gleam coming off of whatever is inside. And it seems to be a whole chunk.
This'll do just fine.
Glad I could help.
Thank you, Captain.
You're very welcome. Sorry to cause such troubles for you.
Not at all. I have what I need. That's all that matters.
Tizal and Captain Revan, is there anything I can do for you in the morning? Would you like some breakfast? I suppose you probably already ate something.
I eat.
Felix,
We have eaten.
Before we start, Felix leaves.
Okay. All right.
He says goodbye and just leaves.
All right.
Cool.
Don't leave me with this bird, man.
I actually didn't know I was with them. I wanted to stay at the academy.
Oh, okay. You just stayed at the academy
Oh.
then. All right.
I'll see you back at the tavern.
Indeed, you will.
Okay. Captain Revan.
So, Reichert, you said you transport back and forth from Orin. When do you expect to be shipping out again?
Well, I've got to get another ship first. Once I do that, probably right away. Unfortunately, how long it takes to get another ship can vary greatly. As you may
Would
see,
you-
or go ahead.
No, you go.
Say, as you may see from the local surroundings, trees aren't necessarily in high supply here. So
Oh, I know of
lumber
one
is-
sturdy tree.
Do you speak of
Wink.
your friend?
Yeah.
He wouldn't fit more than two of us if he was hollowed out.
Tis but a joke. Well, if I could ask a favor of you, however long it does take, whether it be a day, a month, a year, would you mind letting me know when you're ready to shove off?
Absolutely. When we have a ship again,
All right.
we'll make sure that you know of it.
Thank you. I want to quickly mention to him the 3 adventures that we were offered.
Mhm.
And just to ask him, if you were in the shoes of my companions and myself, what do you think you would choose?
Having a life full of danger, as I do, I seek opportunities to stay away from it as often as I can. So, I'd probably rather go on a mission of diplomacy myself.
All right. It's not what I expected, but an honorable answer nonetheless.
Just because I embrace death doesn't mean I look forward to it.
That's wise words. Well, I'll leave you to your day. I'm going to make my way back to the inn.
Hold
I'll
up.
be,
a minute.
be there. Oh, yeah.
Yesterday, you mentioned a compass.
I did. And we're alone in his like room or office
Yeah,
or wherever we are.
right now it's just
Okay.
you and him.
I'll pull it out now that it's just the two of us and show it to him. I was a little worried. I didn't know the origin of this, so I wanted to share it in secret. I show it to him.
Kind of like puts down the pan with eggs that he was looking at or working with, and goes over and kind of picks up the compass. Do you mind if I investigate it or inspect it a little bit?
Oh, please. If you know anything about it, I'd love to know it. When I came to after, he taps on his chest, this was in the coat, the pocket of my coat, and I've not seen it before in my life.
That is terribly curious. So he just kind of like looks it over in his hand. It seems to be broken.
Aye.
Hands it back to you. That's all.
Does anything of it look familiar to you?
Looks like a compass. Not exactly
Does it-
sure of its purpose, though.
Does the inside of it open?
No.
Like within the glass? Okay, there's no just like flip open or latch or anything to like get at the inner working. Okay.
Nah, it's completely sealed from what you can see.
Okay. I put it back in my pocket. Well, I'll be at the tavern with some of my new friends this evening if you care to join us for an ale.
You might find us back over there. You might have a few more stories of Stan to go over. Don't think we got enough
I hope
left.
we do. He, I don't know, and goes to give him a big handshake and parts ways,
Okay.
turns and leaves.
Cool. We'll call it there then. I'm assuming that's the end of Alex's time.
Yeah,
Cool.
that was great.
Well, thanks for playing, guys.
Oh,
I love.
That's the end of the
I
campaign.
love-
You did it. You made it.
We made it.
You lived to
It's
see
probably-
Oren.
It's probably more boring to watch, but I really don't mind just pure RP sessions.
Yeah, this was fun.
yeah, like it.
I'm a big
Lots
fan.
of lore revealed.
Yeah, I have so many questions about your world, but I don't want to table talk them. So I just want to. I have to find them out in character, but I have to see if it aligns with what council knows. It's
I'm glad my character is at least smart enough to ask about it.
True. Here, I'll stop the stream now.